Before you stop me and say, "What are you doing, G-Slang?" What's up? What's cool and what's going on? I hope you guys are having an amazing day because we are continuing the Giants talk this week. I'm trying to build like theme weeks for teams. So the G-Men, we just did the roster breakdown and mock draft and all those good things with free agency and stuff like that. Now I want to take this football team in Madden and we are going to be doing a realistic, okay? And when realistic can always mean different things and stuff like that. But what I mean by realistic is we're not going to do anything out of the ordinary that you see with Madden and trading and all those sort of things. We're going to keep it like one trade a year maximum for a player, one draft pick trade. Like that's the maximum I can do. We're going to really keep that theme going throughout this process. So we're going to take the Giants. We're going to try to build them into a powerhouse. And I'm looking at the rankings right now. The blocking fourth, that's got to be wrong. Like, what is Madden doing out here? I've not been gone that long for Madden to realize that what is happening out here. Their blocking is definitely not fourth in the NFL. We need to improve that. Either which way, we're going to be doing the New York Giants today. Let's get right into this thing. Oh, and I have not done Madden in a long, I mean, be real. I haven't been playing video games, so this is going to be a little bit different for me. Like, oh, geez, you didn't even know how to do this game, but we're going to figure it out. I used to do this all the time. I love doing rebuilds. It's so much fun, and I can't wait to get into this. I got to make a decision on what I want to do here, but let's go with the developmental wizard, the developmental Dan Campbell style in here. I got to think about a name now. Meet the newest head coach for the New York Football Giants. Drum roll, it's LL Bird. Almost reminds me, like, it gives me some business vibes or something. I don't know. But either which way, look at, she's rocking out here. She's got the hoodie on. She's got the slick pants. I think we're ready to go. LL Bird is the new head coach for the Giants. Things haven't worked to the past. We're going off the wire. She's going to lead us to many Super Bowls. At least that's the hope for me. Let's go ahead, save, and get into this franchise rebuild for LL Bird, the new coach of the New York Football Giants, the team leader. So this is the first order of business. We are going to get Jaxson Dart as the franchise quarterback. Let's hope he can be that guy. He is now our starter for the New York Football Giants. And we're going to have to give him a shot here. I know the rating here on Madden is low, and we'll see how he develops along this career path. It may or may not work. With that being said, I'm going to give him every opportunity. I'm going to give him at least a couple of years. We're going to watch the stat lines and see how he does. Also got Cam Skattebo up there starting. Even though Tracy will be in as the receiving back, Skattebo is going to be the power workhorse in between the tackles. The offensive line, this is going to be something when we get into the offseason, we're going to have to overhaul. So fully expect a overhaul of probably all four of these offensive linemen. On the defense side of the ball, I'm a little less concerned about the defense right now. Like, this defense is very promising. Like, they have a very, very good defense. You got Bobby Okereke. We got Abdul Carter starting in there. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau in real life has been playing really, really good this season. So has Burns. We got a really good edge room. We got to look at maybe some more defensive talent help next to Sexy Dexy. Maybe Darius Alexander steps up. Overall, this defense is not as big of a priority as this offense. And the offensive line protecting Jaxson Dart is going to be my big concern. So let's continue. Let's go into the season now, and we're going to get through this season. It's going to be simulation, so let's see how we do after year number one. We're going to be tracking every single season, too, and I'll do a recap of every year and how hopefully we improve as we go along. Holy mackerel, you're not going to believe this. We made the playoffs, 11-6, and we're taking on the Rams. LL Bird, that's all it needed. That's all the Giants need. And probably Madden simulation's a little crazy. You know how it goes with this sort of stuff. Let's look at the stats here before we get too crazy. Let's see how Jaxson Dart did. All right, 4,100 yards. We were 7th on offense. Let's take a look at the defense. 5th. Whoa, I'm telling you, this is in real life. You can think about it in multiple ways, but this Giants defense is way underperforming in real life and what they should be, in my opinion. Dart, 4,100 yards, 29 TDs, 7 interceptions, a solid rating, almost 250 yards a game, took 40 sacks. As I said before, that is clearly something we have to address this offseason. So we're gonna be looking at that for sure. Any which way, let's get into some of the rest of this stuff. You got Cam Skattebo, over 1,200 yards. Let's go. I love Skattebo so much. And he is going to be a dominant beast in this 10-year rebuild. As long as he doesn't get injured and 17 touchdowns, 39 broken tackles. I love Skattebo, man. Who doesn't love Skattebo? I feel like if you're a football fan, you have to love Cam Skattebo. There's just not much else to say. Wan'Dale Robinson. Oh, man. He's showing off in real life. He's showing off here at Madden as well. Almost 1,500 yards. He beat out my league neighbors. And middle league neighbors played more snaps, too. So there's that. Slayton, not too bad there as a third option. We put up some good yardage. Theo Johnson had 450-ish yards, just under that. So not too bad there from the second-year pro out of Penn State. Let's take a look at the blocking. Surprisingly enough, Andrew Thomas had 16 sacks allowed. It doesn't always recognize the numbers, but either which way, offensive line is going to be something we really look at overhauling this season. Let's take a look at the sack numbers first. Well, actually, let's look at the TFLs. Those are important too. Burns, Lawrence, McFadden, who unfortunately is injured in real life. I turned off the pre-existing injuries, and I thought all about that, but we'll just go scratch. We'll go clean with it. Let's take a look at the sack numbers now. 12 from Burns, 11.5 from Sexy. You got 8.5 from Golston. Woo! Carter, 7.5 sacks. Not bad from the young rookie. Thibodeau only had 2. Come on, Tibbs. You in real life, I think he already has 2, so not realistic. Let's go to the interceptions. But you got Bobby Okereke and Jonas Griffith, who they picked up. Obviously, the CPU did this because I didn't pick him up here, so he is now on the Giants. He's not on the roster for the Giants in real life. I don't believe so. I'm almost positive on that. Hey, I'll take it. 2 interceptions. Why not? Add to the football team. We could use all the help there. Not a whole ton of interceptions, though, by the defense side of the ball. Hey, you got to look at kicking. Kicking's a thing, too. All right, we need to take a look at that. Ooh, Graham Gano struggled big time. I know Giants fans are like, oh, the injuries with Gano before the game. Hey, he came in at the end. I give him credit there, but we got to get better maybe at field goal kicking because we're going to be paying him like $5 million next season. So we might have to move on from Graham Gano. There's your punting. Gillen's a good punter. I'm not too worried about that. Let's get into the game itself. I'm really excited that Jaxson Dart, holy mackerel, that's big news, though, for this football team. Let's get into the actual playoff game versus the Rams. Let's see if we can get the job done and beat the Los Angeles Rams, the Matthew Stafford in New York, which is probably the first time in like 10 years that there's been a game in, not even that, it's probably been longer than that since a New York football team has hosted a playoff game. We do go down 31-17, not too close. That's okay. Hey, I'm pretty excited about that first season. Okay, first things first, when we get into the offseason, we're going to have to retool the roster a little bit, even though we're a playoff team right now, believe it or not. I'm going to start off with making some cuts. John Runyon, we're going to go ahead and let go. I feel like we can get a little cheaper here. We can create some cap space, and that should help us out quite a bit. Not done yet, though. We're going to continue this, and let's go and sort this here so we have the guys that we want to let go of. Bobby Okereke, I'm going to think about here. Let me continue because I'm going to make a few more cuts that I know I want to make, such as James Hudson III. We're going to get him off the roster here. I think this is very realistic in real life as well. So we're going to do that. We're going to get him off the roster. That would get us to roughly around close to $60 million right now. We're going to have some contracts we're going to have to let go of. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep Bobby Okereke for right this moment. It's something we might come back to, though, here in a minute. I want to get a look at the re-signs here. Wan'Dale Robinson's the first guy on the list that I feel like we need to re-sign. And as I said before, we're going to try to keep these pretty fair in terms of real life and things like that and what these guys could actually make. So, fair value. It's a great question. What's fair value and what's not? I'm definitely he's not that interested in terms of what they're saying here. I'm going to go very player friendly. After having a $15 million season, we have to be careful, though. That would put us down to $47.6 million, and the average would be, around $17 million a season, which after that sort of season, it's only a one-year sort of thing that he's had that. So there's a little bit of a balance with that sort of thing. I'm going to make him this offer. We'll see if he takes it or not. He is going to take that, so we keep Wan'Dale. He was such a big part for this season, so I want to bring him back. Cordell Flott, I also would like to bring him back if possible. 2-year deal. I'm only going to give him a neutral offer, though. I think that's fair, around $6 million. In real life, that's kind of where I would slot in his value. Maybe it's upwards of $9 million, you could say. I'm going to see with this offer, he may not take it. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't. Then we'll move on. I think free agency will be best in the long run. That's fair enough. He's probably going to get paid quite a bit. Banks, the 5th-year option, I'm not picking that up. Micah McFadden, I do want to re-sign Micah McFadden. I think he's been a really good football player. I'm going to offer him more of a player-friendly sort of deal here. And that, to me, lines up fair value when you think of like a Derek Barnes type of contract. I like that a lot. So hopefully he takes this. He will. He's going to be back. Hoosier alumni over here speaking. So glad to see him back in blue. Evan Neal, we're letting go. We're moving on. Dane Belton, I think we can go cheaper. We can find some guys elsewhere. Victor T. Bikiji would be bad depth, but I'm going to look in the draft, maybe a late round pick to get a little bit more depth there. Jonas Griffith was pretty good, I will say. He's pretty good for us. I'm going to move on, though. We're going to try to get a little younger there and look into the draft. Jermaine Illuminor, I'm going to also let go here. I'm probably going to look in the draft for a right tackle and maybe the future in that spot, even though he doesn't want too much money. It's not terrible. $7 million for Jermaine Illuminor. I will say if he's willing to take something like that, I'm not too bad to offer him something like that. We might even upper it to around $8 million, which I guess is not out of the question, unrealistic. He could take around 11, around an $8 to $10 million mark. So we'll up it here to around $9 million. Let's go $9 million, Jermaine Illuminor. If he's willing to take that, I'm cool with that for another year. That allows us to draft and develop somebody, or let's continue to see how Marcus Bowe comes along. So all those things are kind of in the back of my mind when it comes to that. Bellinger would be some good depth at tight end, so I'm cool with bringing back Bellinger for the price point. $4 million, that is quite a bit per season for a backup tight end. I'm not going to do that. That's just a little bit too much. It's a little out of my price range for a backup there. Art Green wouldn't be terrible for $1 million. Hey, we got to go through all these guys. If he's willing to take that, we'll keep him around at least. It's not a lot of, guaranteed or anything like that. Nothing guaranteed, so we can move on from him before the season even begins. Besides that, though, that I'm going to do. Schlomann's a little too much out of my price range. So those are the guys we're going to go ahead and re-sign. We made it to free agency now, and here's the way the roster looks currently. The offensive line looks like a bit of a disaster. Jaxson Dart, though, up to an 81 overall with some confidence, and star development huge. Cam Skattebo. I'm sorry, I'm going to be saying that all rebuild long, but I love it. And he's already up to a 92 with confidence right now. Unbelievable. Rondell Robinson also really beaming with some confidence there. The offensive line clearly is the top need. Cool. We could look at another tight end tier 2. We'll see what's out there in free agency. The defense is coming along nicely. Abdul Carter's up to an 86 overall with confidence, 84 without the confidence. Defensive line also going to need some depth here, really the key. The cornerback room still looks fine. Banks is still here for another season. You got Phillips, you got Adebo. Those will be our 3 guys heading into the offseason. So let's get in to sign some free agents as I keep clicking the wrong buttons. I told you I haven't done this in a minute. I'm still trying to figure out where everything is right now. But here's some of the free agency class. Okay, just kind of, we could go with a fullback. I know, hey, we're running the show now over here. Or should I say LL Bird is. Maybe we'll actually use a fullback. Dable really didn't use fullbacks and whatnot. I'm not going to go too crazy signing a ton of guys, but I do want to get some depth on the offensive line in general. Like, we got to find some guys. Jenkins could be one of those guys. I'm not going to give him like a massive long-term deal or anything. 2 years. There is some injury risk with Tevin Jenkins, but I'm cool with this. We really do need to try to bring some depth on here. And with seeing him over at the Browns and the cheaper contract that he got, there's going to be some of that price factoring in with injury risk. So I think that's fair, around $12 million a season for Tevin Jenkins. Really good football player when he's out in the field, but injuries definitely been a problem for him throughout his career. I guess a safer option would be Edwards, who's got a little more you feel confident with. Oh, Penning's available too if we want to go with a little more kick your butt style mentality. Ooh, don't really necessarily love the center class here in free agency. So what we'll probably do is look into the draft in that department. I do want to sign a right guard, at least to some depth. Who, Sean Ryan's a little expensive. It is a little expensive. I'd be willing to pay more like $3 million for Sean Ryan. I'm going to maybe lower this a little bit and see, lower the guarantees, maybe even. But $4 million. How about we go $4 million for Sean Ryan? He is technically a starter. That's true. So he might want a little bit more than this. We'll go up to $5 million for Sean Ryan and see if he's willing to take that. We'll up the bonuses a little bit. So I guess we'll get it back to where it really was. If he doesn't accept it, he doesn't accept it. We'll continue. Maybe we'll throw out another offer. Ooh, Cole Strange is there. I might have to throw an offer. I want to try to see if I can find a little. Oh, Jamari Sawyer, the guy we got in the actual mock draft that we did. Maybe we can throw out an offer for him too. Well, let's see if one of those guys signs here. Let's actually do that right now because we can We can check. Let me do all available offers here and see who signs and who does not sign. And let's get into this. So eval offers, which is R. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so it looks like we got Sean Ryan in here. Since we did not get Tevin Jenkins, that's fine. We'll look into the draft on this one. Let me give Michael Jordan, let's go ahead and his journeyman out there, not that much money. Let's give him around let's go $2 million. If he's willing to take that for solid depth on the roster, I'm comfortable with that. And we will go ahead and see if we can bring him around. So we'll eval that offer there. And let's see. So he's accepted that. We're good to go. So at least we got some sort of depth. It's not like ideal. We still have plenty of money too. We still have $27.2 million. We could use that though later on. So I'm not like going to force using that money. I'm cool where we're at. I mean, we got an 85 overall roster right now. Our defense looks really strong. I'm going to go into the draft and really just hammer in on the offense and the defensive line. So like the interior of the defensive line and maybe a linebacker to develop in the future, something like that. So let's get to the draft. The draft is here. It's started up. As you can see the logo. Let's go ahead. Let's just skip the video, even though it's pretty cool. It looks pretty dope. I am going to first up. I've taken a look at the board. If you're interested, here is the board. We're not interested in quarterbacks, so I'm not even going to try to trade up for Robert Medlock. That's an interesting one, but I am going to be just going with the pick that we have. I'm not going to trade up here. We are picking. Where are we picking? Oh, 20. Okay. So let's go and advance to our pick, see who's available, and hopefully there'll be somebody good that we can take. I did make a little big board out here, but I will recheck some things, see who fell to us. Being where the board as it is right now, here's where it's at for me. I am interested in two players at this current position. One being the tight end, Eric Hawker over Hawker. I'm not good at pronouncing names. I'll be honest with you. Should read more. Kids, make sure you read more than I do. Really solid athlete. Strength's a little bit low, but a great athlete. 4.5 speed at his pro day. Look at the traits. This guy looks like a 77 overall type of player. I think he's probably the best available prospect on the board currently. But I also like this Stephen Young, maybe Steve Young's son. Who knows? He kind of looks a little bit like him, doesn't he? He kind of does. I think we can maybe find him in the second round, possibly, if we do want to get a tight end. I would love to add a dynamic tight end here for Jaxson Dart. At the same time, though, we got to make sure we're protecting Jaxson Dart. And that's why I'm leaning towards Nick Forbes here, who also looks pretty good. I mean, the traits, he's a really good athlete, elite athlete in many regards, and also has great strength. So these are legit. 37 reps on the bench. He had sub 5-second 40-yard dash. The agility drills are pretty dang solid. First in the 3-cone. This 20-yard shuttle was second for left tackles. The traits are pretty good. They're not unbelievable, but they're pretty good. So the offensive line being such a big priority that is, we're going to take Nick Forbes here, the left tackle. We're going to move him over to right tackle, and then we're going to move Jermaine Illuminor inside to guard. Let's do it. Here he is. He was ranked number 1 in true value. What? You're kidding me. We only got a B- because he's number 1 ranked in true value? You got to be kidding me. That is insane. What, does he not have a development? No, he does have developmental trait. That's crazy to me. How do we get a B- for picking the best player in the draft? I don't know. Either which way, Madden is crazy. Jeez Louise. Like I said, I haven't done these in a long time, but you're telling me either which way. Let's get to the next round. That is wild to me. On to the second round, though. Here we go. Oh, actually, do we have? Yeah, we got a second round. We don't have a third round pick, I don't believe. Anyway, let's take a look at who is available here. Let's get back to the handy-dandy big board and see who my favorites are. Okay, see? Steve Young's son is available. I made double dip on the offensive line. Give me a second. I'm going to continue. We got two choices, really. We got a couple of choices. It's projection over here. We got really 3 guys on our board. This linebacker's good, too. Man. You know what? I'm going for the storylines. Steve Young's son, as I'm going to be calling him through this, is now heading to the New York Football Giants. Let's take a look here at the traits and everything. Very good athlete. 4.66, not quite 4.5 of that other guy, but the agility scores and the broad jump all first in this tight end class for the college pro day. The skills look really, really good. I can't pass up on him. And both of these guys, too, we've drafted, I'm trying to keep the injury ratings solid as well. That's important. It is. So, Stephen Young, welcome to the Giants. He's ranked, okay, I think that's just a trip. Obviously, it must be a Madden glitch or something. He was ranked number 1 in true value, but drafted him at 52. So it must just be something that Madden's got a bit of an issue with. They've always seemed to have some sort of glitches each year. He does have a hidden development trait, 8.3 speed. Not too bad. Anyway, there you go. Let's go and get into our next pick, which should be in round 4 now. Next pick, I'm going to go get some edge depth here. Andy Cook is going to be the pick from Washington. That's just what this is. I want to continue to get some more depth. He's got an elite acceleration. Not that greatest athlete, but the shuttle stuff and the drills, so the agility scores are really good. And for this point, in the 4th round, I'm just trying to build out some more depth, as I said, for this. So I don't expect anything crazy. And we'll go ahead and take him here. Let's see. Does he have a developmental trait? No, that's okay. No big deal. Next one, though, here, I am actually going, just looking at the big board, I'm going to use my 1 trade per season that I'm allowed. Okay, I only give myself 1 trade a season. I think that's fair. We're going to use that here. I'm going to try, because there's quite a few players I'm interested in after this. So I'm going to see if there's anybody that is willing to give up like a couple of late round picks in this draft, because I would love to be able to get a couple of these guys. If not, then we'll stick and pick here. It doesn't look like there is, so it looks like we're just going to stick and pick. Oh, wait, the Eagles? No. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're going to take this from the Dolphins. Done. Going to go ahead and select this. Deal is done, and we'll get into this. I'll go ahead and recap it now. So here we go. This is the total draft recap. We drafted Nick Forbes in the 1st round, left tackle, who's going to move to right tackle, and then Luminor to guard. We got a tight end, Stephen Young. Okay, let's go. And then we got Andy Cook, 70 overall. Not bad there. This guy. We got 2 guys that I think were absolute steals. First up, Marquise McDaniels, who was projected to go to UDFA. Look at some of the stats on this guy. He's insane. 90 strength, pretty good athlete as well. And also, he's got some decent finesse and also power moves. Let's see if we can get to it over here. They're way out here. Anyway, maybe I should just click on it, but here we go. So 75 and 68, not too bad for a rookie there. And he's a nose tackle archetype, so that's pretty good. And then we got Brett Matthews, who has a developmental trait and is 73 overall. Huge. He's going to be a day 1 starter. We were struggling to find anybody in free agency. So we now have 2 new starting offensive linemen into this room. We got some more depth with Gillespie here at right tackle, and then a long snapper. Hey, long snapper people are 2. We need to actually have all 3 phases covered, and we lost Crater, so felt like let's go ahead and replace him here with Josh Martinez from Colorado. Good old primetime Deion Sanders coaching him up, hopefully. Okay, so here is the roster for your season number 2, and this roster looks way better already. You got Jaxson Dart up to an 80 overall, star development. Cam Skattebo here, 88 overall, with Tyrone Tracy. That 1-2 punch is fantastic. You got Deuces Loose as well on here. All right, number 3 running back. Computer must have picked him up. I like that. Offensive line. Now, we weren't able to go all 4 of the positions. We got 3, though, and Forbes is going to be we're starting right tackle. You got Matthews at right guard, Illuminar at left guard. Schmitz is going to stay in at the center position. It is hard to get 4 new offensive linemen, no matter what you think about. So it would be to get 2 new starters over here at right guard, right tackle. I feel pretty good about that. Illuminar coming back on a nice deal. And then you got Stephen Young. I keep wanting to call him Steve Young, but if I do, hey, it is what it is. His son, as we're going to be calling him, Stephen Young at tackle or tight end, number 1, and Theo Johnson there as the number 2. Good, solid 1-2 punch at that tight end room. Defensively wise, looking pretty good. McDaniels, DT number 3 for us. Sexy Dexy, obviously, and Alexander going to be leading up that DT tandem. Cornerback room, nothing really changes here. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. Secondary in general, we got enough depth to get the job done. Linebacker depth is going to be a bit of a question mark here. It's not ideal. And here is where our 1 trade is going to come in. It's KT. And the team I've decided to trade him to is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to be looking for a draft pick. And I'm going to see if I can get a 2nd rounder for KT. I think that would be fair at this point. Maybe a 2nd and a 4th round pick for Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm gonna see if this one goes through. It may not go through. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But we're gonna give it a shot and see if this one is a possibility for us. And the deal is done. I think that's a fair offer. 2nd and 4th round pick for KT. He could get a 1st round pick. It's definitely possible. But being that they're gonna have to pay him, that also makes it a little less likely scenario. So I felt like a 2nd and a 4th round pick was pretty realistic package for that deal to be done. So that's going to do it here for the trades and everything like that. Cook's going to step into that depth role. The guy we drafted in the 4th round, I feel confident that he can be that 4th guy with Golston as your 3rd guy. And that's where we're going to roll. And going into year number 2, let's get into hopefully the playoffs. This is what I like to see, an improvement to 12-5. We're taking on those pesky Cowgirls over here in the division rivalry. Oh, man, hopefully we can get the win right over here. It's going to be a tough one, though. Let's take a look at the stats first and foremost. We were 6th on offense, so top 10 once again. 12th on defense. Not a little bit of a regression there. Losing KT certainly could be a possibility on that. Draft picks will help us. Jaxson Dart, actually, pretty good season. Once again, 61 sacks. Not good. Not good at all. I mean, we got some rookie offensive linemen on that right side, so that can be part of the explanation. That is not good, though. Cam Skattebo, great season. Maybe not as many touchdowns, but once again, a great season from Skattebo. Tracy is their backup. We got Wandale having another big season. What is happening? Malik Neighbor is not getting... Oh, he did miss a couple of games with some injuries, so that kind of affected him from getting 1,000 yards, unfortunately, there. Oh, what about our tight end? Okay, Stephen Young, nothing crazy. Maybe this playbook, which I'm using, the Green Bay Packers playbook, doesn't really use tight ends, obviously, that much. It is what it is. No big deal. Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, not the game's plays. Let's take a look at the sack numbers. John Michael Schmitz, 14 sacks as a center? That has got to be one of the worst numbers you'll ever find. Tackle duo for a rookie, 12 sacks. Okay, not the horrific thing for Madden in terms of. Let's take a look at those TFL tackle for losses. Pretty good. Burns, McFadden, Carter all leading the way. Now the sack numbers. Okay, we got Sexy Dexy, 13. 8.5 from Carter. All right, and then Burns, 7.5. Nothing wild out, but pretty solid all around. 3 interceptions from Bobby Okereke. I'm glad we kept him. You got Drew Phillips at 2, and then some guys here at 1. Muasau had an interception. All right, and so did Banks. That's good to see. Let's get into the game, though. All right, time. It's showtime. It's game time, should I say. And let's start it up with the Cowboys. Hopefully we can beat the Cowboys. Let's advance to the week here. If we get into the Super Bowl, I'll get into the sim. We'll watch the game as it is live. Let's see if we can do it here. The jump roll's going. We lost again. 31-20. Unbelievable. 2 back-to-back first-round exits. That's something we got to improve. We beat them, too, in week 17 or week 18, technically. So it sucks. They got their revenge. Back with free agency here. And Malik Neighbors, that 5th-year option. Oh, this is easy. I'm going to absolutely do that. That's a no-brainer. But one other thing I did want to mention here, too, was we have over $103 million to spend in free agency. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's get back to this. With Deonte Banks, as I said before, it is tough. He is interested. We'll consider it through free agency, see what we want to do. But for right now, I'm going to at least let him test the market. Bobby Okereke, I'm going to let him test the market. He's not really interested. Sean Michael Schmitz, we're going to go. Sam Howell, nice backup, but we can go cheaper than that. $6 million for backup there. It's just too much that I want to spend. Eric Gray, we're going to let go of a lot of these guys here. Just too much money. We could bring Art Green. That's $3 million. Now we're going to let him go. Anybody else we want to re-sign here? Illuminar, $8 million. No, we'll go ahead and look to go with a draft pick or something like that. It's time for free agency. And when we look at this roster right now, possibly with $103 million, we could really add some star potential. And with that, I'm looking at a left guard. I'm looking at a center. Those are the 2 areas like draft, free agency we have to fill. Right side of the offensive line looks good going into the future. Andrew Thomas, Bo could end up just being the swing tackle. We could keep him rocking there. So no matter what, we need at least 2 offensive linemen this offseason. Wide receiver is something we could look at for the future. Slayton's going to last year of his contract, I believe. Neighbor's going to have to be paid. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to go crazy in free agency because we got a lot of guys we have to pay. Running back looks good. Let's go on to the defense side of the ball. Mike linebacker is the top priority here on defense. Also a corner. We could use a corner. And I'm probably going to go more of the youth route because we're going to have to pay Phillips, I believe, next season. We're already paying Adebo. I'd rather maybe draft somebody at corner right now. Linebacker, I wouldn't mind paying somebody. We'll see who's available. At the same time, we could also draft somebody there. And we will need to add some more edge depth here. We have Carter. We have Burns. We got Cook. Golson's still around, but he's somebody going to be going into the last year of his contract. So that's something we could really keep an eye on. DT, still another area as well. But let's get into it here. And we got $103 million, as I just said. It's pretty rocking. Hopefully there's some dudes available. And you got Tyler Smith available here, the award winner. He is award winner. Okay, here, I'm not going to sign him. And the reasoning for this is saying, what? He's available. You need a left guard. I know it's really tempting. But he did just get a re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys. So, and it was just recent. And Madden didn't include that. So I'm going to be kind with this in a realistic fashion and say he's basically not here. I'm gonna act like I didn't see it. I seen it. But no, I'm gonna act like I didn't see it, even though I really do want to sign him. Let's still get some of these other offensive linemen because we really do need offensive line help. We could use a swing tackle possibly, depending on what we want to do with Bo. If there's anybody cheap here, all $6 million for these guys. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll just draft somebody if nothing else. Let's take a look at left guard besides the guy up there that we're going to ignore. Anybody reasonable? Yeah, Drew shrugs. $7 million. I don't know. I'm not willing to pay that. I think we'll just stick to the draft. There's nobody really out here that I'm vying to pay for. We do kind of need to bring in one dude at least. Center, anybody at center we can bring in. Oh, what about Jared Patterson? $6 million, though. That's kind of expensive. How about one of these guys? Let's go ahead and bring Oluwatimi. I think that's a good one for $2.73 million. Let's bring him in. Solid option here. He's interested as well. On to, let's see, any other position, any guards? See, right guard. Cyrus Torrance wants almost $9 million. I don't think so. That's too much. I mean, in real life, he's worth that. Don't get me wrong. But he's only got normal development in the year. So we're gonna decide to go elsewhere. Kayvon Thibodeau, he made it to free agency. Just imagine, wouldn't it be hilarious if we signed him? But the Bucks didn't sign him. Are you kidding me? That is wild. Defensive tackle, we're okay. I'm not going to do anything there. What about Mike linebacker? Any Mikes? No, not really. Oh, Nate Landman's available. Oh, you already know. If you know me, I love Nate Landman. I'm signing him. And 7.25. Yeah, that puts him like right in the category where I would be looking to pay Nate Landman, even though I'd be willing to pay more. I tell Nate that. I think Nate it deserves more than that, but in terms of skill set and all those sort of things, I think $7 million is fair. I love Nate Landman. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Secondary, unless there's a guy that's super enticing. Garrett Williams would be a nice slot addition. Yeah, no, we're going to just go in the draft. We do have so much money. I feel like I'm being foolish by not signing some of these guys. At the same time, I also know going forward that we have a lot of guys to sign. So we're just going to go to the draft here. It's probably the most unrealistic thing, though, so far that we've done is we have $92.9 million in cap space. In real life, they spend a good chunk of that. However, I do know that we have a lot coming up. So that's why I can kind of fathom that. Like next season, we're going to spend a lot of cap space on some of our guys. Let's see, where are we picking? Oh, 23? Okay, let's get to our pick here and see what we got on the board. I got the board ready to go. I think we got some players in here. Now, we could do one draft trade. Remember, so here to clarify, I can do one trade during the season, only one, and it has to be, it depends. Like, can't go crazy with it. And then we have one trade during the draft if we want, and we're not going to use those every single cycle. Let's see here. A lot of quarterbacks. Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise. 3 first-round quarterbacks that all have top 5 draft talent on according to this. That's insane. But give me a second. Here's our draft board as of this moment. So if you want to take a look at that, here's the okay. So we don't have any first, second round guys that we have projected. So wow, they took all 4 of the guys we were looking at. Okay, so I made my decision here after really thinking about this. It was between a couple of things here, I'll be honest. This guy looks really good. Okay, I'll show you the traits. First up, look at the athleticism. This guy is a fantastic athlete. Every second check mark you want, take him, right? The injury rating, an F. I just, availability is your best ability. And if he's constantly injured, it's not going to do us a whole ton. So I am going to be taking Christian Alexander from Ohio State. I'm going to put him inside the guard. He could also be our long-term left tackle behind Andrew Thomas, who we also have injuries there. This guy, I'm not super confident. I'll be real. He's a decent athlete, nothing crazy, solid traits. At least the injury ratings from an A to a C. Not going to be amazing. You're probably going to be low 70s is my guess. It's just going to come down to, does he have a developmental trait? I think that's going to be key. If he does, then that'll really help out. But if he doesn't, then we could be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, at least he has a developmental trait. That's going to help out a lot. So we can move him inside to guard. He'll be our swing tackle as well for the long haul, and hopefully that left tackle of the future. But for the time being, that was just kind of the best thing that I felt like we could do with a position of need. Let's go on to this next one here. I think with this next second round pool, you got 2 second-round picks, remember. I'm hoping to fill one of these linebacker voids. Oh, they're back-to-back, too. So that's what I'm going to do right here is take Will Patterson. I guess he's a new actor over here. And Robert Patterson meets Batman. We got Batman on our squad now for the New York Giants. Traits look okay. I think they look fine. Physicals as well. Nothing insane to write home about, but a 4.6. I almost said a 6.46. I'm like, ooh, that would be not good. But Will Patterson, welcome to the squad here. Does he have a developmental trait? He does not. We'll see what that rating looks like at the end of the draft, but here in the second round, he should at least be a decent football player. This next pick, let's go ahead and finish up, hopefully, our offensive line. Josh Gonzalez from USC. USC produced some good offensive linemen. Let's snag him here. He has developmental traits, and that's good. He's probably going to be like in the low 70s is my guess. Needed to finish up that offensive line. Unfortunately, the cornerback class looks a little shaky. There was a guy I really wanted in the first round. I thought we were going to get at least one of them. There were a couple of them, actually. But we're going to take Quayshawn Bryan out of Oregon, Ducks fan. Figure let's just bolster the defensive line. This dude looks pretty solid. So let's go ahead and add him. He's probably going to be like a 71 or 72 overall. He's got a ton of strength. So just kind of anchor as that 4th defensive tackle on that defensive line. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go ahead and get through the rest of this draft, and I'm going to recap and show you what it all looks like. So here's our recap after the draft. And looking at the offensive line, I feel very, very good about this and everything. Corner-wise, I'm a little concerned. I'll just be honest. We weren't able to really find any sneaky corners. We're going to have some competition. I'll probably try to bring in a veteran in free agency as well. We've got some money. We could make our one trade if we want to do something big. That's definitely a possibility. So we'll keep all the things open. We found a solid kicker here from Texas. Some receiver depth, definitely a possibility to add that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Nothing too crazy with this draft. Not our best draft, but we did get some much needed depth. So I made a couple of moves. On the offense, we didn't make any moves in terms of free agents, but I did sign Michael Carter and Kobe Bryant, who were available on free agency. So I went ahead and did that to fill some of those voids that we weren't able to fill in the draft. That's why it's critical in real life to have a little bit of money, because if you don't, then you're kind of in trouble after the draft if you don't get everything you need. So I feel good about this. And the offensive line was the number one priority still. I want to make sure we're in a good position there. Marcus Bowe is going to be our swing tackle. Our interior offensive line now looks really good. We're set up with some young guys here that could also play tackle for us too, which is good. And then we still have our playmakers in here. Skattebo's up to a 90 overall. Dart's up to an 86 overall. Wan'Dale's been a beast for us. I'm surprised he's not actually higher than that. But defensively, as I mentioned before, we added in a couple of players, one with Kobe Bryant in free agency, and then also we added in Michael Carter as well to fill that slot position that we've lost with losing out. We didn't sign Deonte Banks, so Phillips is playing on the outside right now, which is fine. Like, he can play on the outside. I'm cool with that. And then specialists here as we lock in Michael Carter there. The defensive line, though, that pass rush still looks pretty dang good. So let's go ahead and hope we can make another playoff run here. We're an 85 overall. A little bit of a downgrade from last season where we were an 86 overall, I believe. So let's see. There might be a little bit of regression this season. There's a little bit of regression. We went 7-10. So I wonder if we had any injuries. That's going to be a big thing we need to look at. So let's take a look at the stats here, because that's not good. We definitely lost quite a few games. Jaxson Dart actually had the biggest stat line by the looks of it. 4th on offense, 21st on defense. So our defense took a massive step back. We're going to have to look at that in the offseason, because Dart, one of his best seasons yet. He only had 42 sacks compared to 61. All right, I mean, it's not bad. 4,500 yards, 31 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. The interceptions possibly a little high there for Dart, but certainly not horrendous. Rushing, Skattebo was still pretty good. Played all 17 games. He had 16 touchdowns. All right, let's go, Skattebo. Receiving-wise, Wan'Dale and Neighbors led the way, both over 1,000. Wan'Dale, it's that slot cheese in Madden. I remember that. 17 touchdowns, too. That is insane. Let's see how about the sack numbers. Oh, our best yet. Let's go. So this is more like it. Gonzalez, compared to, I guess, Schmitz led up like 14 or 17 last season, so I guess it's a little bit better. In general, that's pretty dang good on the offensive line. Tackles for loss, how did we do? Not too bad. Abdul Carter. Ooh, Abdul had a monster season. Let's look at those sack numbers. Oop, wrong button there. Ooh, here's the kicking. Hey, we haven't been looking. Easton Ellis, 11 for 21. Okay, yeah. I'm glad we clicked that because we're going to be finding a new kicker. That is so bad. I'm sorry. I don't want to diss you too much. I like the name and everything, but that is not good. Missed 10 field goals. He was only like 50%. He's like 51%, 52%. That is so rough. Sacks, though, we had Brian Burns, Abdul Carter leading the way. Dude, these guys were monsters. And then Sexy Dexy, 10. McFadden, 5.5. Okay, so we're going to have to had a new kicker this offseason for sure. Interception numbers were low, but Nate Landman. I told you I love it. Nate Landman, 2 interceptions. Let's freaking go, Nate. You're the man. Holland had 2, so... Okay, we got to add to the secondary this offseason. It's time to make some big decisions here. We have $161 million. We're going to spend some. We're going to be more realistic. We're going to spend the money this offseason, starting up with this big fella. Sexy Dixie. Oh, yeah, baby. Let's go. We got to go ahead. I'm not as good as him when it comes to the dancing. Very player friendly. You bet you it's going to be a monster contract. It is a total of $185 million. Woo! He's worth it. He's absolutely worth it. He's done. Let's get it. Let's just, yeah, we're moving on there. That's a must. We got Abdul Carter. I would love to just give him a contract extension now. I actually would like for them to have an option for that. But at least we can pick up his 5th-year option. That's a must. Jaxson Dart, picking up his 5th-year option 100%. He's another guy we got to pay next year. Watch out for that. Drew Phillips. We're going to have to pay Drew Phillips. We're going to have to pay him a lot of money. We're going to go very player-friendly. And let's see. Let's do the calculation on that. That's over $25 million a season. It's about right. Now, Sauce Gardner and all those guys, he's not quite going to make that money. We'll move him up a little bit. He's not been like going crazy. So I'm going to keep it around there. 5-year contract. Let's see if we can go about 4-year contract for Drew Phillips. Lock him in there. He is excited to come back for the football team. Javon Holland, 3 years. He has been okay. He had a decent season. We could try to bring him back. It's not like he's been unbelievable or anything like that. However, I wouldn't mind bringing him back. He's only 28 years old. Let's go ahead and about do $15 million a season. Makes sense for Javon Holland. Solid player. Not anything crazy at this point. We're going to let go Paulson and Debo, though. Newbin, I want to try to re-sign as well. Keep the safety duo intact. I also want to pay Newbin quite a bit of money here. We're going to go $4 million. We're going to up this. Let's get him more into a reasonable salary. I'm going to go around 12 to 15 is what I'm going to say for Newbin. So let's get him up into that range there. That's about 13. Let's go a little bit more. Let's go about there for Newbin. Done deal. Tyrone Tracy is next on the horizon here. I'm cool with that. As a backup running back, $5 to $6 million a season. That's fine with me. We'll go ahead and let that. We'll give Tyrone Tracy. I like the lightning and punch thunder there with Tracy and Skattebo. Slayton, we're going to let go. Carter will let go. Theo Johnson, that's a tough decision. We don't use tight ends a whole ton, so I like paying a backup tight end $7 million just doesn't quite make a ton of sense to me. Anybody else? Muasau, $3 million for a backup. Will linebacker. I'm not against that. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that's a fair offer. Let's do. Oh, he's not. He's going to go to free agency. That's fair enough. That's not a big deal. So he may try to get more money in free agency. Besides that, though, I think that's about all she wrote. Gillen, we'll go ahead and draft a punter and a fullback free agency. And I'm just going to say right now, this draft class looks pretty good. Okay, I think we're going to be able to find either a top-notch receiver if we want or a top-notch corner. Both positions look very, very good in this draft class. Offensive line, really feel good about for the first time out of all the offseasons. We're going to be going into year number 4. So my goal was to have this rebuilt by year number 3. And I'm very excited that that is an area that we feel good about. Funny enough, it's our worst season. So we need to look at the defense now. We need to start prioritizing it because we just dropped significantly. We went from a top 10 defense at the beginning of these to now outside the top 20. So we're going to have to restart thinking that approach and investing in the defense a lot more. And that's what I'm going to be prioritizing. The cornerback position to me is an absolute game changer spot that we are going to be looking at here. So let's go into free agency now. Take a look if we can spend some of this money. We have $69.8 million. Told you that money was going to go fast. And Jahmyr Gibbs available. Left tackle Joe Alt is available. Oh my gosh, he's interested too. Let me think about this. I'm going to be loyal to Andrew Thomas. He's our left tackle. He's under contract for the next 2 years. We could get out the deal, but I'm not going to do that. Got to be loyal. This is a realistic rebuild. You don't have to, but I feel like it's important as an organization to do that. We're going to go out, though, and go all out for Cooper DeJean. As you see our cornerback room, we could totally pick up Cooper DeJean, plus still draft somebody else. We're going to go very player friendly. It's a monster deal. This is going to be game changing for us if we can get Cooper DeJean. I'm going to even up the money a little bit more. We're going to give him record breaking type money. Let's go. Let's give him some more here. It's going to take a sizable chunk out of our cap space, but it's worth it if we can get Cooper DeJean onto this roster. Jack Campbell would also be a fun player to get, but we've got Nate Landman. What it could do, I could figure this out, because what I could end up doing is putting Nate Landman opposite with Jack Campbell. That would be a fun idea as well, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and stick to what we got. We drafted a young guy too in there, so we're going to rock out with that. I feel pretty good. And as I mentioned before, I want to save some cap space for next season. Let's just see if we can get Cooper DeJean. Please, Cooper DeJean, come to the squad. We got Cooper DeJean. Let's freaking go. I'm so excited about that. Let's get into the draft. Draft time here, and we are picking at number 9. We're going the wrong direction. I want to go be that 32. With that being said, let's look at the draft board, because this draft class, it looks pretty dope, especially for what we need. Let's start off. You can see some of the hearts there. We'll take a look at some of these players that are still available. I want to show you 2 positions that I think are looking really, really beastly right now. Starting off with receiver. Look at this guy. I may not be able to pass up on this dude from Washington State. Look at his traits. And he's a solid athlete, not an elite athlete. 4.49. Those are fine numbers. But oh my goodness. A-spec. Short route running, medium route running, release, deep route running. He is a route running, one of the best route runners I've ever seen scouting. I don't know how we can pass up on this guy. Cam Aldrich is incredible. He might be a generational player. You don't see prospects like this. But then you go to the cornerback position, and it gets even better. Look at the cornerbacks. This dude from Vanderbilt's a beast. Look at all these traits. B, B, A. You got another dude, a man comes from Florida. I mean, it's so challenging. This guy here is a good athlete as well. We could use another corner. What do? I just feel like this is the guy I probably should take, Peter Hilliard. I'm taking the receiver. I mean, that receiver is one of the best receiving prospects I have seen. I mean, maybe his athleticism could be a little bit better, but geez Louise, this guy is unbelievable. I'm taking him. I can't pass up on Cam Aldrich. One of the best prospects I have seen in a hot minute. He's got to have a development trait. He does. 91 speed. I can't wait to see what his route running looks like and what his overall is. It wouldn't shock me if he's an 80 overall. He looks that good. On to our second round pick here. And I really want to take a corner. However, there's really nobody available at this point that I really like. Fortunately, I thought there was going to be somebody available at the second. I was thinking, okay, let's just take the receiver. And there was a corner that was projected like second, third round. He wants to win in the first round, which is wild. So with that being said, there's really nobody on my board that I'm loving at this point. I think we're going to make a trade at this point. We're going to use our one trade for the season and try to trade back, maybe get some draft capital for the next draft. This dude here, Jaden Craig from Purdue, is a third, fourth rounded projected fullback. That's crazy. His traits are really good. I'm not taking him here, but that is something we could consider, of course. We're going to trade back, though. Let's see if we can recoup some draft capital for maybe next season or later down the line. Any trade picks that look interesting here? Maybe we can get a second round pick next year. That's kind of what I'm thinking. How about we go with the Panthers? Actually, no. 2028, so we need a 2029 pick. Let's go and find a 2029 pick, or maybe we'll take the Bears selection. I know it's in 2030, but I think we'll do that. It's 2 years down the line. However, that gives us some good picks for the future. Let's make that deal. That is our one trade for this season. With this next pick, I'm really just going BPA. I'm just going to take a backup quarterback. Teddy Garland from South Carolina. He's projected to be a top 5 talent in the class. So at this point, why not? And he's just going to be a backup just in case Jaxson Dart gets injured. That's really all I'm seeing with the 120. He has a hidden development trait. So it's possible, depending on how he goes, we could end up flipping him next draft or the draft down the line, especially if he gets an opportunity to play and looks good or whatever. He's a good athlete as well. I'm just thinking about it as a good backup for the time being because you need a backup, but we don't have a backup right now. So it's time for the recap. And I think we had a really good draft, all things considering. And I think that where we're at as a roster could afford us to give around one of those second round picks for a 2030 pick in this case scenario to have to wait a little bit. 78 overall, Cam Aldridge. I think we made a good move. That cornerback was really good, and we could take a look at him too in a minute if we want. Quarterback is 71 overall. As I mentioned before, he's going to give us a really good backup and possibly a trade piece, maybe even a second, third round pick, or you never know. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Probably not going to be a first or anything like that. It would have to be crazy. He'd have to come in and play and take us to the playoffs to do something like that. We got an edge rusher with some depth, and we got another good receiver. So we're going to have to seriously think about some stuff because this guy looks really good too. Manuel Nava from North Dakota. And then we got a defensive tackle from LSU who looks really good. And then a punter, Andrew Baldwin. So we're going into year number 4, and this roster looks pretty good. You got an 87 overall team right now. The offensive line developing. We don't have anything like insane right now on the offensive line. It's kind of slow development. So there's one little knock. Maybe we could try to upgrade at some point. The receiving core, though, looks mad with Aldridge coming in there and then Nava here as well as that 4th wide receiver. At this moment, we didn't necessarily need to sign Neighbors, as crazy as that is. Wan'Dale Robinson, maybe we move on from him after this offseason. That could be a trade candidate as well, especially with what we have. And if Nava plays really well, watch out for that. He's going to be on the bench for a good chunk of the season. Defensively wise, we have a good spot here. Mike linebacker, our one weakness. Patterson, though, let's give him that shot. All right, we drafted him on day 2 of last season. I'm ready to let him be hopefully the leader for this team now going forward at that Mike spot. McFadden over there. We did pick up Akeem Davis-Gaither for some more depth at that in free agency. And then we have cornerback room. I also picked up Beanie Bishop to play in there at give us some slot depth with Cooper DeJean and Drew Phillips. We have a ton of slot corners. I guess we're playing the Green Bay Packer game out here with all these slot corners. Defensive tackle, we're pretty good. We got some depth as well. So I feel very good about this defense, or at least better than I did last year. It's not perfect, and I think we're still going to have to hit this in the offseason. Overall, like, it's better than it was last year. On my feet, let's go. 13-4. That's what I'm talking about. LL Bird, 84% approval rating. That's really good. All right. Now, I mean, I haven't been doing this or nothing like that, but I'm excited. I'm really excited. Let's look at the stats here and see how we did. We got a bye, which is awesome too. And that way, this is our first time out of the first round just because we got that bye. Offense, we were first. We had improvement on defense up to 14th now. Skattebo looks like he went really good. And the most efficient season from Jaxson Dart that we have seen. 38 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, only 29 sacks. The offensive line is really paying dividends now. All those draft picks is really paid off to this point. Let's go to the rushing, and Skattebo's also benefiting. 6-yard average from Skattebo, 19 touchdowns, only 1 fumble. And he only played 15 games. That's insane. Tyrone Tracy only played 39 snaps less. Skattebo's unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Receiving wise, we got Robinson, 1,100. Neighbors, 1,100. Aldridge, 739 as a rookie. Not too bad. Okay. Nothing crazy here, I will say. And then we go on to the blocking, which was 100% the best we have seen. Great job from this offensive line. I'm so impressed. And then we go on to the tackles. Will Patterson. That's a great. This is exactly what I was hoping for. He comes in here after basically being a good backup in his rookie season. He takes the reins. 6 tackles for loss, 135 tackles, a sack and a half, an interception. That's an amazing season. So he should really develop here nicely. Let's look at the sack numbers now. 13.5 for Abdul, 10.5 for Sexy, and then we got 7.5 for Burns. Pass rush is probably going to be something we have to think about investing in here really, really soon. I will say these pass rushers are getting a little bit older now at this point. 4 interceptions from Drew Phillips going into a contract year, right? So, of course, into a contract year, we're going to have to pay him more. It is what it is. A lot of guys with 1 interception. We had Cooper with 1 interception. So, he also had 8 pass deflections. So, that's good to see from Cooper to Gene. Anyway, let's get into the game. All right, I'm ready. I want to get to the Super Bowl here. This is what I'm thinking about. I would love to see the Giants get this Super Bowl and run. Let's get on a Super Bowl run for the G-Men. Maybe the Jets can get there too. The Jets versus the Giants. Wouldn't that be a great Super Bowl matchup? But we got to get through those pesky Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love out here is going to be striving, I'm sure. But look at the overall difference. 89 to 83. Come on, we got to have this, right? I better not say that too loud. I'm sure they're listening to me right now and saying, ha, 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 ha. Oh, you think this is a piece of cake, huh? 6 overall difference. Oh, we got it. Okay, let's go. Now the Lions are 87 overall, so this might be a challenge. We beat the Packers 21 to 11. Let's see if we can get to the Super Bowl. You know what? I'm going to send right to the Super Bowl so that way we can keep in suspense a little bit longer. And no, I'm not going to let this thing go. We're getting to the Super Bowl. I'm confident, man. And you know who we're going to be taking on? Let's go. Yeah, I was going to guess, but it went too fast. Now it's the Raiders. We are in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to get into the game because when we're into the Super Bowl, we're going to watch it. So here we are, folks. It's Super Bowl time. Obviously, we're not going to play these games, but I am going to be simming this and we can at least watch it. So let's jump forward. Let's go to the end of the game here and see what happens. Come on, guys. We're down 3-0 already after the first drive. It's still early, though, and I believe in Jaxson Dart. I really do. Touchdown. Hey, we got a touchdown. They're getting field goals. That's a good sign so far. Let's keep getting touchdowns. Let them get field goals. Okay, we got a field goal. We're up 10 to, okay, we're up 17 to 9 now, fourth quarter. I'm getting nervous. Hold on. Help me slow this thing down. Hold on a sec. Oh, we're up 31. Why did I slow it down? Keep going. We're winning. Let's come on. We got this. We can't blow this. Even the Giants can't blow it. We deliver a Super Bowl to New York after, this is the 4th season. So that's pretty good. I'm excited about that. Jaxson Dart is a Super Bowl champion, throwing laser beams. They always have the great name, too. I will say that about the Giants. You got Danny Dimes. Now you have Laser Beam Dart out here. We'll try to think of a better name than that, but the Dart Cannon bringing a Super Bowl championship to the New York Giants. Look at the confetti. Look at Malik Neighbors. There's Jaxson Dart in the interviews right now. Where's Kay Adams? I don't see her. But we get that Super Bowl ring, and we're not done yet. Remember, we still got 6 rings to go. Oh, there's boo, boo. I've not seen this one before. Oh, yeah, there she is. LL Cool J. I mean, LL Bird. LL Cool J. I guess it's his sister. But LL Bird gets that Super Bowl trophy, the Lombardi in their hands. First female coach to win the Super Bowl. That's a huge addition there to history. So we had some fun. It's time to get to business, though, and we got a lot of business to take care of. I'm just going to be honest with you. We only have like $23 million in cap space, and we've got some guys we have to pay. So first up, we're going to have to clean the roster up. So let's take a look and see what we can do. We're going to have to move on from some players. I'm just going to be real. And one of those guys is Brian Burns. That leaves us with $23 million in cap space. It is really tight. So plus, we're going to have to pay Jaxson Dart next season. Malik Neighbors is going to be, we have to make a decision here. It's Malik Neighbors or Cam Skattebo. I got to go Skattebo. Like, Neighbors has been fine. We just drafted 2 really good running backs. Has Neighbors' stats, like, blown me away? No, they've been really good. And this is tough. It is really tough, but we have to make a decision here. And Skattebo, you could say the argument it's going to be easier to find a wide receiver or a running back than a wide receiver here. I can't let go of Skattebo. He's kind of like the heart and soul in many ways that I'm looking at, and I'm going to have to pay him. All right, that's kind of what it is. I got to get him a contract out here, and the deal is going to be around $15 million, which is fair. I think that's top-end money for running backs. Let's get the deal done. Hopefully he's ready. He is happy to sign. He's back. We only have about $8 million on 8.3. That's not going to be enough to bring back Malik Neighbors, unfortunately. We're going to accept the option for Nick Forbes there. And let's see what else we have. Anybody else? Alexander, we're not going to be able to pay. We have depth at D-tackle. I'm okay with that. Bo, a little expensive for a backup there. Fedoni, anybody else we need to bring back? Cam Little. Oh, Let's try to bring back our kicker. I got him in free agency. I'd like to bring him back if possible. Maybe not. We're not going to be able to go too crazy with it. $5 million for kicker solid in general. So he's back. Cam Little. We got a kicker back. Anybody else? Let's see here. Oh, Ethan Evans. This is probably the last one we do. He's the last guy we have to bring back anyway. We'll give Ethan Evans a little bit more. Go about 4 years. Like, oh, we don't have enough? Well, no. Let's see if we can lower it just enough where we can bring him back. He's back. Okay, cool. All right, we aren't going to be able to do anything in free agency. We have 20K. I just found something cool out. I forgot about this rollover. I am so glad we didn't go too crazy. We actually have more cap space now because of that rollover. So we actually have $31.8 million because of that $30 million rollover. That's huge. Now we can at least go in free agency here. We could go after Malik Neighbors here. We could at least throw out some sort of contract and see if we can get him back. However, I feel like receiver, we're in a good spot. We need an edge rusher. Mike Green is here. He's interested too. This would be a great signing for us. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go after Mike Green. We're going to give him a 4-year contract, actually. Let's go very player friendly. And let's hope that he can come back into town. Let me think for an edge rusher. Mike Green. Let's do something around $26 million on average. I think that'd be pretty fair. Gives him around like Jonathan Grenard level money contract. Yeah, he's in the prime of his career, so we're going to do that. That's about all she wrote. $6 million. We're not going to be able to do a whole ton. I want to keep some cap in here. Let's see if we can sign him. So let's go ahead and do that eval here. Hopefully, come on, Mike. You got this. Let's see if we got him. My signings. We did. Okay, so we got Mike Green. That'll fill the void of losing Brian Burns and Carter. Or sorry, Green and Carter. Okay, so here we go. This is a little bit after the fact too, because I accidentally didn't realize my camera wasn't recording. So I'm going to be voicing over just this part. It's a very short element of it. Then we'll get back to the live, or whatever, third person. But looking at this right now, the roster before the draft, I'm going to be looking at trying to develop and draft somebody on the interior of the offense line because Thomas will have 1 more year left on his contract. So we're going to need to invest in that like left guard position because Alexander will be the future at left tackle. We could use just some depth in general on this offense line too. So you can always use depth. That will be something we really will be looking at. And Matthews may not be around too much longer, with cap space and stuff like that. Wide receiver wise, we're looking pretty good. Running back, quarterback, obviously not a need. Defensively wise, I think Mike linebacker is an area we could look at some depth. Cornerback is another area we need to add some depth. But D-tackle is the number 1 need. It really is. We got to get some sort of help. Sexy Dexy's getting at that point now where we need to start thinking about adding some more help in here, more depth. So I will be 100% be looking at that defensive tackle spot. And then a Mike linebacker of the future could be very much in play for us. So let's get into the draft here. Gabe Saucedo from Ole Miss, the Rebel. And he's going to, we love Rebels out here. I like to be a little Rebel. Let's rock it out. Good speed, good athleticism. Now, sometimes these speed rushers in Madden on the defensive tackle position can be hit or miss. The traits don't look great either, but I was desperate. I really was. At this point, I'm like, we got to get somebody on the defensive line. I'm really thinking about Sexy Dexy and his contract going forward. We're not going to be able to pay a re-up after this. We got him here. He only has normal development. It's probably going to be like a low 70 overall. And actually, I already know because this is after the fact. So, you know what I mean? That's not saying much. Next pick, Hudson Russell. Wasn't super impressed with the trades here, but he's solid, and we need a left guard of the future. And Russell, I think, will fit that bill from San Diego State. Need some much-needed help on that interior offense line. Got to develop some of these guys with Alexander maybe being the future left tackle in a season or two. And we go ahead and take him here. He's got a developmental trait, so that's good. We really needed that. Feel like we got some good, solid interior offense line for the future. Now, look at the recap here, okay? Saucedo, 71 overall, normal development. He might just be a rotational player for us at this point. You got to go ahead and add something. Like, that's the way I felt. And then Hudson Russell will be the future left guard for us. So I feel really good about that. And then you look at the rest of this draft. We got Cassius Baskerville, the cornerback from Indiana, a little hometown pick there. Going to be a nice little hound of the Baskerville, like little Sherlock Holmes sort of stuff. We got a great fullback, too. I mean, dude, look at the fullback and the long snapper. Deshaun Crathers from Texas Tech. He's an accurate archetype. But we needed some special teams, so I figured fullback and long snapper they were good in this class. Let's take them. Here's the roster before the season. And when you look at the offense, we did have Forbes get injured early in the preseason, so I picked up DeJuan Jones just for some more depth. Russell, we're going to let develop. Let him get a redshirt season. Alexander, as I mentioned before, will start still at left guard and be the future at left tackle for Andrew Thomas. Besides that, I mean, I think we're looking pretty good on this offense. Wide receiver looks really good. Running back, amazing. And there I show the Forbes injury. He's out for one more week. That's not a big deal. We'll get him back in time for the season. We've got some decent depth now with Russell on the interior. He'll be our swing guy there. And on defense, we got Mike Green, the machine, still in there at the edge rushing position. We picked up Abdul Carter. Of course, those two guys, what a combination with getting Mike Green there. Interior defensive line, it is going to still be McDaniels at DT number 3. Maybe Saucedo can develop later down the line when we have some free agency and we lose some of these guys, because I know that's going to happen here very, very soon. Cornerback looks decent. We picked up Chris Abrams-Drain to give us some more depth. And, hey, I mean, that's kind of what it is. Baskerville is going to be more of a developmental guy. You'll see him later down the line. So we somehow squeaked into the playoffs in year number 5. We got 9-8, and we're going up against the 13-4 Los Angeles Rams. And we got a home game, which is great. So let's see what the stats are looking like before we get into this game. How did Jaxson Dart do here? And first in the NFL, leading in the NFL with 4,600 yards. Third on defense. So the defense coming up in the clutch out here. Skattebo had a bit of a down year by the looks of it. Maybe got injured. When you look at Jaxson Dart, though, man, those numbers, yeah, that's pretty dang good all around. 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 104.9 rating. I'm ready to go with that. And then running-wise, yes, he did get injured with Skattebo. Only played 13 games. You got Tracy stepping up there. Only 3.6 yard average. Dart had to run for 104 yards this season. On to the receiving, and you got Wando Robinson leading the way. Here comes that second-year pro award winner this year. Must have gotten a rookie of the year last season. Over 1,100 yards. And then Navaya as well from North Dakota, the guy we drafted in the end of the draft. Also stepping up almost 1,000 yards. 5 yards. What? We couldn't give him 5 more yards? Come on, guys. Get him a screen or something like that. Stephen Young going to a contract year. We're going to have to make a big decision on him, too, this offseason. Especially since we don't really scheme around tight ends in this playbook, clearly. Offensive line was really solid again this year. Defense, let's take a look. Will Patterson leading the way in tackles. That guy is stepping up. The young talent here, the guys who drafted. Sexy Dexy leading the way in tackles for loss. Abdul Carter finally coming into his own by the looks of it. 23.5 sacks. That's what we are looking for right here. Our first 20 sack guy. Oh, yeah, can't forget about Sexy Dexy. Only having 14. Anyway, you got Quishan Bryant. Oh, wow, dude. That guy's, we needed that. We need somebody else on the defensive tackle position to step up, and Bryant really did. 3 interceptions from Cooper DeJean, our big selection and signing in free agency, so that's good to see. But now, can it pay off in the playoffs? Can we get another Super Bowl win? I'm aiming for it. I'm gunning for it. I need it. Let's do it. Come on, Jaxson Dart. Tough loss, but we'll get back at it this offseason and try to make this football team even better. We got to win. Hey, I'm trying to go for 2 or 3 Super Bowls. I'm on a dynasty. So it's time for free agency, and it's going to be really tight. I had to restructure as many dudes as I possibly could just to come up with $84 million for this cap. Now, I doubt I'm going to be able to get both of these guys. I got to get Jaxson Dart in here first and foremost, and he's going to want $60 million. I think that's the offer we're going to have to give him. So it's going to be a very player-friendly deal. I mean, that's a little bit too much. We're going to go, let's go somewhere. I mean, that's over $60 million. That's like $65 million average, which true. I mean, at this point where we're at in the few years down the cycle and stuff, $65 million might be more of the norm. We got to pay him. That's just kind of what it is. Hopefully he takes this. He's back. Hurts the pockets a little bit, but he is back. Abdul Carter, I don't think we're going to be able to re-sign him as much as I would love Carter. But okay, so I found a little bit more money. We had to restructure Jaxson Dart's contract right away. It does get us to $47 million. We're still going to have to let go of one of these guys. I want to make sure we have Abdul Carter back. So we're going to go player-friendly. This would be Myles Garrett plus money. This would be top of the market. $45 million for an edge rusher is about right. So let's get the deal done. Abdul Carter, I can't let him go. It just kind of is what it is. We're going to have to let go of Brett Matthews, though. It just kind of is what it is. I can't find any more money. And we're going to have to let go of a lot of these guys, like Steve Young's son is gone now. Left guard, Christian Alexander, we can pick up his 5th-year option. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. Actually, we probably don't need to. I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that. Even though it's only 12 million, let's go ahead and do that because he's going to be our left tackle next season, actually. So that would be a cheap contract for a left tackle because Andrew Thomas now going to be hitting the market. I'm not going to be able to re-sign him. McFadden, we're going to lose him. We're going to lose Tracy. We're going to lose a lot of these guys. Andy Cook, we're going to need some depth. And this is why I traded down a couple of years ago, just thinking about some of this stuff. At least we'll have a little bit of extra draft capital. So I was just going through the roster here, and there's a couple of things that I found very interesting. First and foremost, this is the way it looks as of right now. Wide receiver, we're still good. We might have to trade Wan'Dale Robinson to clear some cap. So that's something to keep in mind out. I need to go out and try to sign a center/tight end. Paulson's a right tackle, so he's really going to be our swing tackle going forward, which is nice. He's got a developmental trade. We have ourselves a solid swing tackle. I moved Alexander back over to left tackle where we drafted him to be, so that's very much the long-term plans for Alexander was to start him at guard and then let him be the long-term left tackle for this football team. We have one offensive line position we're going to have to fill. Russell's going to fill right in. He's got superstar development, which is awesome. He'll be filling in that left guard position going into the future now. And then we need a backup running back this offseason, so that's something maybe we can draft later on day 3. So on the defense side of the ball, this is where it gets interesting. I just noticed this guy. We drafted him in this past draft, Glenn Campbell. He's got superstar X Factor. I mean, I still don't want to let go of Abdul Carter. I think that would have been silly. Now, Mike Green, I did restructure his contract. So it is what it is. He's going to give us good depth. Maybe we can move him. I probably can't move him to defensive tackle. He's just not big enough, so we're not going to do that. At least we got good depth. That's the good point about that. We do need to find a will linebacker. We have a huge void there. So that is going to be the question is we still need cornerback. We need a will linebacker, and we're going to need a center and a tight end. We have 4 positions we're going to have to try to hit with limited cap space. Draft time here, and I just want to show you something because there's this guy, Maurice Dixon, number 1 overall in the class. This guy is one of the best prospects I have seen thus far rebuilding these elite traits all around, or very good traits all around, good to great. And then you look at the traits. I mean, A finesse move, A power move. Like it's all basically A's. The dude is probably going to be like an 81 overall. Maurice Dixon, we're not trading up for him, but the 49ers, let's just hope that they take him. Let's see, who do they take? It'll be a mistake if they don't. All right, they took him. Good. He is going to be an absolute freak show. Yeah, Jalen Carter, something times that maybe even. Here we are at pick number 19. The corner. Jeez. All these corners, the guys that I want get taken right in front of me. They always do that. It is. So after much thought here, I have decided to not just take my appetite to the Outback Steakhouse. I know that joke's still stuck in my head right now, but I have decided to use my one trade for the offseason, and I'm going to be using it to trade down with the Denver Broncos. We're going to go for that first rounder next year. We get a 4th rounder. I know it's not necessarily a ton in return, but the Broncos were picking top 5. So they're giving up a pick to come back into the first round. I'm guessing for one of these quarterbacks maybe still available. I don't know. We'll have to see who they go after. But for me, it just makes the most amount of sense. So they got up for a left tackle there. So they got defensive tackle and a left tackle, which also makes sense. That left tackle was pretty good. I was actually looking at that guy. I just feel like we're good at left tackle, at least for the time being. He's going to a contract year. We could have drafted somebody to develop there. With that corner that I wanted, Ashy that went to the Chiefs that sniped us right in front of us. That's like, that's how it goes. It is what it is. No big deal. Let's go into the second round here. I'm going to try to address probably the center position as long as I don't get sniped at some of these centers, which it looks like at least one of them is on the board. Okay, the one guy I wanted got taken by the Commanders, of course. That's okay. There were 2 centers that are on the board that I'm cool with. And let's find him here. Oh, here he is. It's Sinclair. Bobby Sinclair from Alabama. Traits are pretty solid all around. He's a great athlete. Every trait is great. The stats line up. At least an A injury rating, which is awesome too. I love to see that. We're taking him here and have our center of the future. He only has normal development, which kind of sucks, but That's okay. He should still be like a 72 overall, is my guess, somewhere in that part. Maybe next second round pick, I'm going to go get Cam Waddle. Maybe he's related to Jalen Waddle, the younger brother of Jalen Waddle's coming to the squad. Cam Waddle. We'll do the Waddle over here. And look at his traits. He looks really good. Elite all around, except for strength, which is marginal. We can deal with that. Beast. He is a beast. A 4.53 at the combine, a 4.47 at his pro day. The agility scores are out the roof. The traits are good. We're taking him. Can't pass up on Cam Waddle here. Looks like a stud. He's got a hidden developmental trait. We lost out on Stephen Young. Let's go get ourselves a replacement there in Cam Waddle. This defensive tackle, 80 overall out of Texas A&M, Maurice Dixon. As I was saying before, that guy looks insane. They also got a really good tight end, clearly, to replace George Kittle in the future. But here's our draft, recapping everything up. We got Bobby Sinclair, 73 overall center in the first round. Or at the top of the second. Sorry, we got rid of our first round pick. We got Cam Waddle, 76 overall with the developmental trade. So that's a big time hit there. We got a left guard, Eric Nicholson in the third. We got some more edge depth, another wide receiver, and then a corner center. This guy might actually be our starter. Crazy enough, because he has a developmental trait. Angelo Martinez from The Ohio State University. I may go with him. I don't know. We're going to think about this because I got a tough decision to make. So here's the roster going into year number 6. And I did make a little bit of a mistake. I didn't realize Gonzalez was actually our starting center. The way they shifted it, I didn't realize that. So that's fine. No big deal. He's going into a contract year. And Martinez, let him develop for a season. And I feel like he can fill right in there down the line. I'm going to have to get cheaper. And that makes a lot of sense to me. What we're going to do is we're going to move Sinclair over to right guard. And it makes sense, too, in a way, because he's 6'4", 307 pounds. That's a guard build. I don't know his arm length off the top of this, but that's a decent guard build. Whereas somebody like Martinez is 6'1", 299 pounds. I'm not moving him outside the guard. That just wouldn't make sense from a realism perspective. So he's going to be our developmental center. He's going to be our day one starter at right guard, and we'll go about it that way. Russell's now going into year number 2. So, like, same thing. We're going to give Martinez that rookie developmental year. And then Alexander kicks over to left tackle for Andrew Thomas, the great Andrew Thomas. And Paulson will be our swing tackle. And wide receiver, nothing changes there. Nothing changes the quarterback. I did sign Indiana Jones as a backup. I signed this dude Murphy as a free agent who was available. I just said, hey, we'll go and bring him in for a backup for Cam Skattebo if he gets injured again from like he did last year. We brought in Jeffrey Besa over from the Chiefs, clearly, and it felt like, hey, we got to bring in somebody with linebacker. We weren't able to draft anybody, just nobody at that point. I mean, we drafted one guy, but clearly he's going to be more of a developmental piece. I am very curious to see how Campbell continues to develop to the point where after this season, we might trade Mike Green, and we'll see how things go, but that's something to keep in mind, especially if Campbell continues to develop and gets up into like the high 70s. We'll watch out for that. Defensive tackle, Sexy Dexy's still there. He's back up to Superstar X Factor. You got Brian up to an 81. I'm surprised he didn't get a star development trade after last season. We're going to give Morgan the starting slot position there. Safety looks a little thin, but overall, there's the roster. It's going to be another shaky season more than likely, but we still have the star talent. And LL Bird, 93% approval rating. We are 12-5. We're playing the 49ers. Another home game, which is awesome. We're getting some home games, but we got to get wins here. Oh, we smoked the Commanders, too. That's a wild one. 35-0 to end up the season. Let's get into the stats first. See how Jaxson Dart did this season. Oh, a bit of a down year for Dart. Offensively, though, it was still 4th. Maybe we just leaned on Skattebo. We had big leads, and we were good to go. Skattebo, first in the NFL. Defense, first in the NFL. Love to see that. Ooh, this defense is cooking out here. But Dart was great. Actually, his most efficient season thus far. 112.5 rating. Only 29 sacks, 38 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. It's a good year. And I'm okay with the fact that he had just under 4,000 yards because Skattebo was an absolute beast. And then we have on the receiving side of the ball, you got Wandell, and you got Nava. I keep butchering his name. Nava? I don't know. Maybe it's Nava. Manuel Nava from North Dakota. Solid season as well. The rookie tight end, Cam Waddle, only 335 yards. Clearly, in this playbook, we don't use tight ends that much, and that's okay. On to the sack numbers. Let's take a look. Anything ridiculous? Alexander's first year starting at left tackle, not too bad. As tackles laid the way by Will Patterson, the beast there, Mike. And then we got sack numbers. Big time for Abdul Carter. Once again, Mike Green. This makes the decision even tougher because he had 14 sacks. What do we do? Now, I will say that if we decided to trade him, then we have a good trade piece here because 14 sacks, we can maybe say a third or a second round pick from Mike Green, possibly. Now he's like going to be 29 years old, so maybe a third round pick. That'd be more realistic. Sexy Dexy's also somebody we may need to start thinking about the future here with Sexy Dexy. Still playing really good, but he's going to be, 33 after this season? So that's something we really need to consider. Interceptions. Drew Phillips, a big year. You got to whole chew this guy. Unbelievable. We picked him up on the cheap and free agency. Had a big interception season. Let's go. That's good to see. But now it's time. Let's get to the game here, and hopefully we can get back to the Super Bowl. Playing the 49ers, tough one. It is always a tough. The 49ers are a tricky team. Luckily, it's in New York here, and we get the job done. We're playing the Green Bay Packers. I believe the last time we met the Green Bay Packers, we lost. It's revenge, hopefully, right? Let's get some revenge here. See if we can beat those Jordan Love Green Bay Packers. We do not. We lost 31-28. A nail biter, clearly. It is what it is. We got 2 first-round picks this offseason. So this is a big draft. It really is, because now we're going to be able to hopefully add some much-needed talent to this roster, especially with our salary cap space being as low it is. We're going to have to negotiate that here in a minute. Sorry, I lied. We have negative money because of those restructures from last year. We're in trouble. I'll just be honest. We're in trouble right now. We got Nick Forbes, who's going to be somebody I'm going to try to bring back, but that may be one where we lose out. Josh Gonzalez, I'm okay with letting him go. It sucks, but at the same time, we have a guy we drafted and I feel confident with. Holland, we're going to have to let go. Quishon Bryan, we're probably going to have to let go as well. Patterson, oh no, we're going to lose out on Will Patterson probably. Dude, we are going to lose some dudes, so that's going to be tough. And then we brought in Indiana Jones as our backup quarterback. And then our kicker, maybe we can try to muster up some money here. Let me see what I can do. I don't want to restructure too much. I want to try to get ourselves in a decent cap situation for the future. That's clearly why I was being very, very careful at the beginning of this. And I knew this was coming, that we were going to use up a lot of this cap space. Okay, so we did restructure some guys, which is going to get us to $36 million. I'm going to first up accept this 5th-year option from Cam Aldridge. And then we're going to let go Wan'Dale Robinson at this point. Just too much money. And he's been excellent. I just can't fathom the amount of money. I want to pay Nick Forbes, our right tackle. And Penei Sewell just got a $28 million average contract. The rest of the market's leaning somewhere between like 22 to 25, the top end. So I'm going to look somewhere around 25 range here for Nick Forbes. So in terms of what that's going to be, I want a 5-year contract for him. And that's around $25 million a year. That's actually 26.4. So I think that's pretty fair. Maybe we can up it just a little bit, get him towards that Penei Sewell number. That kind of gets you to the Penei Sewell number. I'm going to make that offer. He does not accept. We could tag him. Let me see what the tag is on Nick Forbes, because that would kind of suck to lose him. $29.4 million. Yeah, let's go and do it. I'm going to tag him, Nick Forbes, right tackle. I don't really want to lose him because I'm a little worried about where we're at right now and filling some of those positions. I don't really have a clear successor at the moment. I feel good about center. We'll figure that out. Javon Holland, we're going to let go. Quishon Bryan only leaves us with $6.9 million, so I'm not going to be able to re-sign him. Patterson, the way he's played, he's probably going to earn about 10 to 13 million, and we're not going to have enough to pay him. So that sucks too. We're going to lose our beast there with Will Patterson. That's going to be about it here. We're going to have to fill some of these. I'm going to re-sign the kicker, and we'll go from there. We can't sign any of these guys. We only have $2.13 million. But Joe Burrow, Josh Allen are both here in free agency. What are they doing over there in Cleveland and Cincinnati and in Buffalo? Unbelievable. I get it. They're getting older, but still, holy mackerel. They want almost $80 million in expected value. That is insane. Brian Branch is available. We do need a safety. I'm not going to be able to afford Brian Branch. And these are just some of the guys that are available if you're curious to see any of these dudes. Ooh, Lenore Sellers' brother, maybe. Skylar Sellers from Penn State. You went to Penn State? You're kidding. But there you go. Let's go and get into the offseason. We're going to use our one trade of this season with Mike Green here. I love he was a monster. But we're going to give Campbell that opportunity. He's up to a 78 overall now with a superstar X factor. Yes, we're going to give him that shot. We're going to go out and get a safety with Kevin Winston, who's going the last year of his contract. So we're going to have to figure out, do we want to pay him or not? And then we're also going to get Warren Bryant. the Mike linebacker there, who is their backup. So that's just kind of what these are. And we're going to, feel like let's go ahead and get a little bit of depth at some other positions. It's also going to help us get a little cheaper off the edge as well. So it's a little bit of a win-win. We can both absorb the cap. Let's submit this trade through. Deal is done. Whether it's fair, whether it's not, I think they're getting a stud edge rusher, and the ages and all those things align. Winston going to a contract year. They may not re-sign him. At least they got Mike Green for at least another 2 seasons, and they need an edge rusher really, really bad too. So here is the new roster before the draft, and let's take a look at the defense. We're going to need another receiver, so we're going to need a third wide receiver. Offensive line looks pretty dang good, I will say. Martinez has superstar development. That's awesome. And then on the defense side of the ball, we still need to invest in the linebacker position, but Bryant will, if we cannot find somebody in the draft, it at least gives us somebody. We'll probably move Winston over to free safety. I'll figure something out, either Nubin or Winston. We'll figure one of those guys out. Defensive tackle, though, is a pretty big need going into the draft. So we're going to be looking at defensive tackle, corner, and Mike linebacker. So it is draft time, and there might be an Aaron Donald in this draft class. I'm just going to say that right now. Look at this one dude, Austin Sharper. I'm not going to trade up. We already used our trade. And also, I want to keep our other second round. This is the one time we've had 2 second-round picks in this entire rebuild, and I'm excited about that. Austin Sharper from Georgia. Look at the traits. We were talking about that one defense tackle from last year. 4'6'4". This dude is literally clone Aaron Donald. Look at him, 6'1", 280 pounds. Who does that remind you of? He literally has the build and athleticism of Aaron Donald. Please fall to us. Please, please. Take all the quarterbacks. Maybe they all need quarterbacks. Number 1 overall. Yeah, not shocking at all. Back-to-back defensive tackles at number 1 overall. That is wild. The other guy we wanted, Autumn Blackshear, is off the board too. That kind of sucks. Bears going running back there at number 4 overall. That was interesting there with Baker. All these quarterbacks still available. I'd love to trade down, I will say, but we've used our 1 pick. I'm not going to trade down. So I've decided to go with Cam Powers, the cornerback from Rutgers here, 6'1", 194. The traits aren't unbelievable. He's got elite speed, which is good. Nothing like insane. I don't think he's going to be probably around like a 75 overall is my guess. But at the end of the day, we need a cornerback. We have to start thinking about the future as well, because Drew Phillips going to a contract year. I'm getting this done. Hopefully he's got a developmental trait. He does. That's huge. So I feel like we had a solid pick here with Cam Powers. I'm excited about that. We really have been looking to take a corner each time we get sniped. I'm taking advantage of that top 5 pick that we have. I want to get a corner. With our next pick here at 28, our pick here is going to be Matt McGee. And I feel like we need to invest in this will linebacker position. I wasn't really sold 100% on any player here. However, it's dude from Colorado. Looks pretty solid. The traits are good. Really good agility scores. Good speed. Overall, the traits are okay. He may not have a developmental trait here, but we need to invest in this linebacker position. We just have not done that, and I'm doing it. He does have a development trait, so that's good. He's going to come in right away for us, more than likely, and be a starter. With this next pick, I'm going to take a safety. This is another position that we have not gone after very much at all, and I feel like even though Quincy Williams more than likely is going to have normal development because he's a first, second round projected guy, we're in the second round, and whenever that happens, typically means there's something wrong, right? And with him, the traits are decent. He did test out of the combine as the fastest safety here. The agility scores look good. The traits are solid. And yeah, I'm just going to take a chance here on a guy. We need depth at the safety position. He does have normal development, but that's fine. He's going to be a developmental guy for Nubin. And that's what I'm thinking, because Nubin, I believe, is going to a contract year. We need to get a little cheaper at the safety position. So it's time to recap everything up. I keep wanting to call him Chad Powers. Cam Powers, 78 overall, a little bit better than what I thought. That's awesome. We really, really needed a good corner for the future. We're getting a little bit older now. We got Matt McGee here, linebacker. I'm going to give him the starting nod right away. I want to give him a chance. We could let him develop for a season. We'll play it by ear. Quincy Williams, a little bit better overall than what I thought. And that's going to be he's going to be a really good developmental guy behind Nubin for a season. We got a running back, Cam Preston, in here, 72 overall. We also got a good running back at the end who has a developmental trait, actually, Rashad Simmons from LSU. He could be the long-term running back for us. I don't know. We'll play by ear there. We weren't quite able to find a receiver, but at the same time, it's not the biggest need on the roster right now. We're in pretty good shape. Gabe Rivera. This is why I didn't go defensive tackle early. I really wanted a defensive tackle, but I knew this guy was waiting in the wings later down the line. He does only have normal development, but the traits with this guy are really, really good. We'll go ahead and take a look at the stats here. The ratings, 92 strength. He's got pretty dang good agility for a guy his size. The injury rating's good too, so there wasn't any huge red flags there. The power move, 74, 67. Finesse move, personality, he's an entertainer. I love it. This guy's going to be our next like hard knocks beast, Gabe Rivera. And maybe he's related to Ron Rivera. He doesn't look quite like Ron Rivera, but we got to get the little hat out there with the flowers and everything. But hey, I love it. We need to add in a defensive tackle. I think if nothing else, he should be an impact early on. We're headed into year number 7. Jaxson Dart has been amazing thus far. We've locked him in now, and he is the dude. And then Skattebo, also the dude. Maybe into the hall. Actually, at this point, he would be a Hall of Fame running back. Aldrich, we need to see more from him this season. Same with Nava. And dude's got a big time face there for a wide receiver. I don't know if they just missed that, but he definitely looks more like an offensive lineman. I ain't trying to make fun of him or nothing. Hey, we ain't fat shaming out here. I'm just saying it's an interesting one for a wide receiver, and he looks definitely more like an offensive or a defensive lineman out here for EA. So I don't know what they're doing with some of these photos, but let's go on to the offensive line here, which looks pretty dang good. I feel like we got some good depth here between swing tackle, interior offensive lineman. Then on the defense side of the ball, we're giving Campbell the keys now to this edge rushing position. It's a gamble. I no doubt about that. Our depth is a little thin, too off the edge now. And then we're also turning the keys over to these young linebackers. Well, McGee is the young linebacker we traded for Brian, who's like 27. So he'll be the veteran in there. And then Besa will be our backup at the linebacker spot. Defensive tackle and the interior defensive line in general looks like it could be a little rough this season. Moving on from Sexy Dexy is going to be a real challenge. We got Cam Powers in here. Is going to play slot year 1 for us. And then long-term, Phillips, as I said, is going to be going into a contract year. So we have to make some decisions. Williams going to be a third safety for us right now as well. Let's go and get into it. It's going to be a tough year. I'm going to be real. I think this might be a year where we might be a little bit of a retool period. So unfortunately, we did miss the playoffs and we went 9-8. Tough season. As I said at the beginning here, we're going through a bit of a retool period. And that happens. Like with any team, it happens. Still a winning season, so we can't be too mad about that. You don't get to the playoffs, so automatically, to me, that's kind of a losing season. We went 8th on offense, 19th on defense. A setback. Losing Sexy Dexy, massive setback for us there for sure. We lost Wandell Robinson on offense. So those are all things. 40 sacks for Jaxson Dart, less efficient season. Those can be a little bit of adding up things. We got Cam Skattebo, still a very, very good season, 18 touchdowns. Then at wide receiver, you got Barnes. Oh, the young man from Rice, over 1,100 yards. We may have found something in the speedster, but that's absolutely tremendous. And he's up to an 83 overall, too, with confidence. Unbelievable. He was like a 68 overall when we drafted him. He was a 4th-round pick, I believe. Something like that. So that is huge. He might be our future number 1 wide receiver out here. Hey, he's playing better than all these guys out here. So what happened to some of these guys? Oh, Aldridge got injured, unfortunately. So did Nava. Both of these guys got injured. That kind of sucks. Nonetheless, maybe that's a little bit what hampered us to this season and why we didn't go as good in the passing game this year. Let's see those sack numbers. Hopefully they're pretty good. Not too bad. Alexander is a free agent. We got to make a decision on him. On the defense side of the ball, Warren Bryant, Besa, and also Nubin leading the way here with over 100 tackles. Okay, look at Chad Powers. I'm going to keep calling him that now. I don't know. I like that. But you got 15 tackles for loss for both Rivera and Carter. Good to see. And Carter, leading the way here with 16 sacks. Love to see those sack numbers get a little bit higher here for Campbell, who's only got 4 sacks. But he's still coming along, developing and everything like that. Will linebacker, Matt McGee. He's having a season, 5.5 sacks as an off-the-ball linebacker. Not too bad there. Good to see from the young man. Drew Phillips, 4 interceptions. Brian had a heck of a season. Wow. Interception from Winston, Nubin, and Besa. So let's get into the decision-making process now. Busy time, and I'm a little worried. We did restructure Dart and also Abdul Carter's contract to get us up to $58 million, but it's not that much considering Nick Forbes He's not interested really in re-signing with us. So it's going to make this even tougher than I would have liked it. I just cannot let go of Forbes and then also Alexander. I want to get one of these guys back. I feel like Forbes is a really good football player. I'm hoping he can take something, but at the same time, I don't know. Should I pay him? This is talking $35 million a season. That's a lot of chunk change, and the contracts don't get much lighter, but I just can't fathom losing both of these guys. He's back. We gave him the bag. He's done. We're going to have to let go Drew Phillips, though. Like, that's just the thing. We drafted the first-round corner, so he's going to have to step up into that role now. Winston, I wouldn't mind bringing Kevin Winston back here. So he had an interception this season. I'm not going to give him the bag or nothing like that. I think somewhere in the $9 to $10 million range would be fair for Winston. So we'll up this a little bit. Let's get him into that $9, $10 million range. So something like that for 3 years. Deal's done. Brought him back. I didn't want to lose him out there. He's a solid safety for us. That takes us down to $18 million. I would like to bring back our backup quarterback. It's always good to have a backup quarterback. We're going to have to give him more like $5 million, I would say, for backup money. Maybe 5 to 6. Fair enough. He hasn't played anything just yet, so we don't know how good he is. So I feel like that's, we can get, if I know exactly how well he played, then maybe a little bit more. But $6 million, I think is fair for a good backup quarterback. Anybody else? Like I said, we're going to have to let go of Christian Alexander. He is interested in re-signing, so we could probably get him back on a friendly deal. That's one thing to consider. Friendly, when I mean friendly, it's still too much, so we can't afford that. So it is what it is. We're not going to be able to afford Nava either. We're going to lose out on the rest of these guys. $12 million. This is really just going to help us sign some depth in free agency. Here's our current roster before the draft. And the offensive line definitely still need one offensive lineman at least at tackle. I'm going to be trying to invest there at left tackle. I could start Forbes over at left tackle and then have Paulson be our right tackle. He's just kind of been developing, and he definitely could start. He's somebody we drafted a few years back. He's actually going to a contract year, so we might give him a chance. It's going to come down to availability, who's on the board, and all those sort of things. At least we've got somebody in here. We definitely need to invest, though. Big time. Have to invest on the offensive line at tackle specifically. And then we got some other decisions, possibly when it comes to the defense, really, specifically. The cornerback room needs a little bit more investment. Cooper DeJean's getting a little bit older now. He still has 2 years left, I believe, on his contract. But we need to start thinking about that. Baskervilles right now is currently stated in the slot. You got Powers, who's got to step up now into that number 2 cornerback role. D-tackle, though, being the other big thing we need to invest in. So I'm going to be looking at D-tackle, maybe another corner, and then a Mike linebacker. The future really would make a lot of sense. We brought in Patrick Queen in free agency just as kind of like a bridge player. We needed to bring somebody. We lost our starting linebacker, unfortunately. Just couldn't pay him out there. But bringing in Patrick Queen, the veteran, makes a lot of sense with McGee over here, our young player that we drafted last season. Edge room, we just could use some depth. And then safety could be a BPA situation, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to give Quincy Williams that reign, or at least that possibility, unless we find somebody that's like just too good to pass up on in the draft. So it's draft time, and we're picking here at number 17 overall. There's a lot of really good options. I'll be real. Like, the cornerbacks in this class also look pretty dang good. This guy right here is tempting. Dante Millard from Kansas State looks really good. Solid athleticism, very good traits. It just comes down to, I feel like I need a left tackle, and I wouldn't force it, all right? If there wasn't a left tackle that said, okay, I'm not going to take this guy just to force something. This guy from Oklahoma looks pretty good. He's a solid athlete. He's got elite agility, which is what you want from an offensive lineman. Good strength, great speed. The numbers sub 5 second 40. The overall traits look good. The injury rating's good. The run blocking power isn't the best, but overall, Oscar Noel is going to be the pick. He's going to be a nice Christmas, a little addition out here. We can get the marketing going. He's got a developmental trait. He's our left tackle of the future. Second round pick is going to be the future Mike linebacker, or at least hopefully, Ian Whittaker. And he's going to be, he's got like a little Frankenstein vibes. I mean that in a good way. I've been watching too much of the Addams Family, or I guess the Wednesday. I like his traits. I think first up, the elite speed is nice. He's a solid mover there. Nothing insane, but pretty dang good. He had the fastest 3 cone out there. Great strength as well. Not perfect traits, and he may only have a normal development, but overall, I think he looks pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and snag him here to hopefully be that future Mike linebacker. Let him be a developmental guy for Patrick Queen for a season, and he lets take that reign. He does have normal development, but he has 91 speed. Holy mackerel. So, finishing up the draft and the recap here, what we were able to do, I think we found some really nice corners later in the draft here on day 2 and day 3. First up with Pat Samuel. He's a 74 overall. He only has normal development, but still, I mean, I feel pretty dang good about this pick here in the 3rd round. I can't complain about that. And then we went out and got Webster here, J.C. Webster from Boise State. Also give us a good little bit of depth at the cornerback position. Got some defensive line depth and offensive tackle there to finish up the draft, obviously, with our first 2 guys, left tackle and our Mike linebacker. Starting out year number 8, the offensive line looks pretty dang good. Noel slides into left tackle over here. It's looking nice and yellow. That's what I like to see. It's all yellow. But besides that, the wide receiving room looks solid. I think Barnes being able to step up puts us in a good position. Plus, Ratcliffe played well, too. Remember, with Aldrich and Nava both being injured last year, I thought Ratcliffe played pretty well. So that's why it wasn't a huge concern going into this year for me, and I still feel like we're good. We got Skattebo. He's going to last year of his contract. It's going to be so sad if we cannot re-sign him. Now, there is a little injury happening right now with Campbell. It sucks. He says he's out for 1 more week, so that's not too bad. We'll be okay. I did sign McKinney and also Quinn Williams on the open market. They were sitting out there in free agency. They're both aging veterans. They're both like 33, 34, something like that at this point, and that's fine. I mean, they're expensive, so that's probably why teams would decided to go ahead and cut them, and I picked them up, give them a little more depth here. We weren't able to get a defensive tackle in the draft. Safety, and that gives Williams 1 more year to develop. So overall, I'm okay with that. I'd like to see him be the starter still, but at the same time, McKinney, it gives him another year to be able to develop. And just in case he gets injured too at this point in his career, he might be more injury prone as well. Cornerback looks good. I do want to see some of these young guys look at. I want to move Boone up here into the starting role. He'll probably play slot for us. So there is our starting lineup for year number 8. Whittaker, I decided let's just get him starting right away. Queen can back him up, give us some good veteran leadership in the back end. The 9-8 theme continues. We missed the playoffs. Unbelievable. 9-8 once again. Well, we're going to have to figure some things out. We do have some young guys at left tackle. It makes sense. I still really want to win right now. Like, this team can do it. And we took a step back on offense and defense. Some 16th on offense, 13th on defense, which is not terrible numbers, but it puts us right in that, like, mediocrity range. So we have to find a way out of that. That's the tough portion. And when you think about it in the NFL, you see a lot of these Pittsburgh Steelers who are constantly like 9-8. Now we feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers with the Pittsburgh Giants. Jaxson Dart had a pretty solid season. 44 sacks is kind of in the mid-range of where he's been. But pretty dang good numbers for Dart. Nothing too crazy from what he's been. Skattebo, pretty solid as well. Receiving-wise, Aldrich did lead the way. Barnes, almost 1,000 yards this season. Once again, good season from Ratcliffe as well. So I feel like our receiving room is pretty solid. We're going to have to make a decision on Ratcliffe, which he just had a good season, too, in a contract year. He hasn't been amazing through his career, so it's good to see he had 1 good season with us. Of course, it's during contract year. Sack numbers-wise, not too bad, even for the rookie. Tackles-wise, Patrick Queen did lead the way there. Whittaker was pretty good as well. 103 tackles from the rookie. Sacks, we had 17.5 from Carter. Okay, even though Campbell was injured early on, 10.5 this year. That's what I want to see. Quinn Williams at 10, so it was a good pickup there. It's going to hurt us now, I will say, because we have to think about that cap. Carter had a good amount of tackles for loss, as at Campbell. So Campbell had a really nice season. That's big time. Interceptions. Cam Powers, 4 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. Exactly what we needed from the young buck from Rutgers developing into our number 1 corner. Cooper DeJean. Wow, our secondary. Well, besides these guys, I guess we didn't have a whole ton of picks. McGee continues to dominate, be really, really good addition for us. Winston had a pick. I am definitely going to be looking at continuing to improve this defense, though, and the offense needs a bit more help, too, as we were 16th. So let's go and get into the offseason decisions. We're going to be heading into year number 9. We got 2 more years to go. We got to figure this thing out. All right, folks. We're in trouble. Bring up the yellow flag, the white flag. We're really going to be interesting this offseason. So we have $27 million. We are going to let go of Aldrich. He hasn't been unbelievable. He's been injured a bit, too. And you look at the seasons, he has definitely been up and down. A good football player, I just feel like the volatility is not worth the paycheck. He's going to get a big-time contract. He's not interested in re-signing. We're going to move on. Hudson Russell is also another tough decision. We're going to probably have to move on from him. I got to bring back Glenn Campbell. He had a monster season. We need an edge rusher. He's semi-interested in signing with us. He's not going to break the bank either, okay? We don't have to pay him Myles Garrett level money. He's just had one really good season too. We're going to go slightly player friendly, and we're going to go 4-year contract. I think that's about fair, about $15 million a season. Done deal for Glenn Campbell. Good football player, not elite, so put him in somewhere like it's a little less than Grenard money, but Grenard's a really good football player. So we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and go to Skattebo. I can't bear letting Skattebo go. He's not interested in re-signing. He is 31 years old, too. I mean, he's still a beast. I'm at least going to throw out an offer. Like, I feel like I'd be an idiot not to throw an offer. I'm going to say it's around $9 million. With his age, this is realistic to me. Let's see if he stays. He doesn't. This is going to be sad. Losing Skattebo. I'm not going to probably franchise tag him. 1 year, 19. Oh, that's too much. I don't have the money to do it either. Let's see what else we got out here. Paulson. Let's try to bring a swing tackle back here. Maybe 2-year deal. Give him a contract around $3 million as a swing tackle. Makes sense. And then we have another decision to make. We could go ahead and re-sign a backup running back here. Maybe you're going to end up being our starter here with Miles Van Buren. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and look to the draft. So for free agency, I just went out and signed a couple of veteran wide receivers on some affordable, like $8 million contracts, something like that. Jameson Williams, Zay Flowers, both older wide receivers. We need help at wide receivers, so I'm going to take whatever the heck we can get. We're going to turn to the draft for this and try to get some more help there too. But this is really all about we can muster up cap space wise. I'll show you the roster here now, and really, before we get into the draft, we got a couple areas we have to hammer out. We're going to need a very good draft to figure this out because it is going to be tight. We need a running back. We might have to make some sort of trade, and that's something I'm not opposed to. Remember, we still have our trade for this season, so we could do something like that. Oh, let me do a little generate the best lineup here. You got our wide receivers added in with Zay Flowers and Jameson Williams. And when you look at the offensive line, I feel pretty good about it because Nicholson's been waiting. He's been trying to develop and everything like that. He's going to a contract year. I'm cool with letting him start at left guard if that's the case. So offensive line, a little bit on the back burner compared to some other positions. We have some depth as well. I will be looking to try to draft some sort of guard to develop in the draft. And then on the defense side of the ball, I feel like the linebacker and edge room is pretty dang good. So I'm happy about that. And I think we've invested well there. Safety, we still could use some help here at the safety position, but especially some depth. I'll be looking at that. D tackles, the number one priority. Like, we got to draft the defense tackle. I've done some scouting. I feel like there's some good defensive tackles, and I feel confident we can snag somebody early in the draft and then possibly later too. I still might have to bring up a veteran come after the draft, but for right now, we're rolling in there with Rivera, and we need some help. I'm making it as clear as day, and I'm sure other teams were saying, hey, this team needs a defensive tackle, and all the other defense tackles were taken in front of us, but that's okay, because this dude from Michigan, I feel good about. Alan McCain, the Wolverine. He is 6'3", 309. The traits look really good. I mean, all around, plus athlete, great strength. A 4.79 at his pro day. Insane numbers. Also good agility scores to back it up. The traits back it up. He's an A to C injury rating. There's just not much that I feel bad about with this guy. Done. Bam. Bam. Enro Lagasse would say. And does he have a developmental rate? He does. 91 strength. He's good speed there. Really looks like a stud. Pair him up next to Rivera. So this is strictly a case of BPA. Cam Whitlock, the safety from Alabama, has found my way to taking this guy. Overall, good athlete. Nothing insane, but a very solid overall athlete. And then you get to the traits. And this is where I'm blown away. It's the injury rating that is going to be a little suspect, but we have good players with Quincy Williams there who can give him some help if he gets injured. You see the traits beyond that, though. A, catching, A, awareness, B, zone, B, play reg, B, man. Overall, he looks like an absolute dominator at the safety position. I'm taking him. This is an easy selection for me as much as I have some other needs. He only has normal development, though, but he does look like a stud, and I feel like he's going to be a high 70 overall. Even though he has normal development, that's probably why he fell to the second round. I'm okay with it. Feel like he's going to be a really good football player. So we've decided to use our one trade to the Arizona Cardinals, and basically, in effect, we're going to be swapping running backs. I'm giving up a 3rd and 4th round pick. I'm giving them Sims, who also has a developmental trade, but I feel like he's going to be better. He's right now, Montrell Stripling is their backup right now. He's basically just sitting on the bench, and yeah, I want to give him a shot. So let's go ahead and make this deal done. I feel like it's more than fair. We're only getting a 3 overall better player, but he's got superstar development compared to star development with Sims. Plus, he's a little higher overall, and also we need more of a power back. So Stripling is more of a power back, and when we take a look at his stats, I'll show you his stats right now. Let me get to it. But he's more of that element that we need next to our backup right now, which is Preston. So Stripling, see, Preston here is a receiving back, and we need more of a power back to go that 1-2 punch we missing from Skattebo, and that's what Stripling really is. He's more of that power element. So I think the combination of the two, and it makes sense trade-wise too for the Cardinals as well, from their receiving to power back combination. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. The dude looks pretty dang solid. He's going from a team, too, that struggled a little bit last year. Maybe he can revitalize his career here. Didn't have crazy numbers last year either. So those are all things where I feel like the deal was very fair on both ends. Giving up a 3rd and 4th round pick, too, is a lot. Maybe we overpaid. We probably did overpay. And you see his stats. Nothing crazy in the rookie season. He was just on the bench the entire year, too. So let's get him out there, give him a chance. We're shooting for the upside. We're going 3rd and 4th round pick, plus losing a good solid backup running back as well. It is risky. So here is the draft recap to finish it all up. First round, we got our defensive tackle, Alan McClain. It looks really good. McClain! Anyway, that's the UCF game. That was dope. That announcer, McClain! We go ahead and get a safety here with Cam Whitlock, 76 overall. We got Martin Garcia in the 5th round for some depth on the O-line. Desperately need some depth on the O-line. Got a little bit more depth, a bit of a miss there, but that's okay. Give us a little more depth. We did re-sign our swing tackle, so I feel good about that. And then I got a run-blocking tight end from Notre Dame. Where else to go than another Notre Dame? And basically tight end university, or one of the tight end universities with Penn State. Then that finishes up our draft. Remember, we used a 3rd and 4th round pick to go get that running back. So we're into year number 9. And you take a look at the roster here. Jaxson Dart up to a 95 overall with superstar development. We're taking a real risk with Stripling. We don't know what we don't know, but the big 6'1", 232-pounder from Georgia coming to the squad. Let's see what we got here. Preston's going to be the receiving back. Stripling's going to be the power back. We're going to be more of a committee backfield, I feel like, this season. Who's Skattebo? Who's on the Jets, of course. The Jets stole Skattebo. Can you believe that? I almost took one of their running backs just to throw it, but it is what it is. Receiving wise, it will be interesting. We're going to be rolling with Zay and Jameson, and then obviously Barnes going to be the guy there in the slot. Offensive line, I do have Garcia. I thought about starting Garcia over Nicholson, but I'm going to give the nod to the veteran. I want to make sure that we give Jaxson Dart the best tools possible. We'll see how he develops along, and then we can go from there. He's probably going to get the opportunity next season to start for us. We got 2 good swing tackles with Falk and Paulson. And then on the defense side of the ball here, defense also looking pretty good. Linebacker position coming along. Now, McGee hasn't quite developed as much as I would have hoped he would have, especially considering the stats, but it is what it is. Whittaker up to an 80 overall. Abdul Carter, 98. Campbell, 84. We drafted McCain on the defensive tackle spot. DT, it's a little bit interesting, so hopefully we'll have injuries. Corner looks pretty good too. Safety, I'm getting Whitlock to start just with the upside. Have Williams as the backup. Remember, Whitlock's injury rating is a little tricky, and we'll take a look at that, what his actual rating it is. 82. Not terrible. It's not as bad as what I thought overall. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Oh, we are full on Pittsburgh Giants at this point, as you can see. We are 8-9, and the mediocrity is just tough. It is so tough to get out of. It really is. And you take a look here at some of the stats. Let's take a look. Offensively, 11th. Solid defense. Where were we? We were 20th. Oof, not good. Stripling, let's take a look at those numbers here with Jaxson Dart first up. 47 sacks, 31 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Okay from Jaxson Dart, not bad. Running-wise, Stripling did have a bit. We missed Skattebo. We really do. We took a chance, and we're not going to give up on Stripling just yet. He did have 823 yards, 3.5 average, 12 touchdowns. there's going to be some development there. And a backup Preston didn't have a whole ton either in terms of rushing. Zay Flowers and Jameson Williams. Whoa, big seasons from Zay is 15 touchdowns. You got Barnes in the slot, only putting up 840 yards, only. It's still a good amount. He played only 13 games, too, so he got injured. That's part of it as well. And then sack numbers, Noel had 15 sacks allowed in 14 games. Not very good. We're going to have to hopefully improve there a little bit. And then we go on to the tackles. McGee leading the way. And sacks-wise, you probably have Abdul Carter. Yeah, Abdul Carter leading. Uh-oh, what happened with our Cook Campbell? He must have gotten injured. He clearly did not play the full season. So we lost Campbell, clearly, for a good chunk of the season, which sucks. Sack numbers besides that weren't great. McCain did have 4 sacks in his rookie season, so that's not bad. Really not bad at all for a rookie. Let's take a look at the interceptions to finish it off here. 4 from Winston, 1 from Roby. The interceptions numbers were not good either. So we got some things to look at on defense specifically and even on offense too. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do everything we can. We got one season, one final ride. We're in free agency. I'm sure Giants fans don't want to hear let's ride, but we got to do this. Abdul Carter, I'm re-signing. He's been a monster. So we're going to have to pay him the big bucks. No question about it. 3-year contract. We can even up this a little bit more. Get him into that $47+ million average season. It's going to be a big chunk, but he's excited to come back. We're excited to have him. I have no problem with that one. Cam Powers, let's go ahead and accept that 5th-year option. He's been beastly. And then we got Angelo Martinez, our starting center. I'd like to bring him back. He shouldn't be super expensive either. A 1-year deal is what he wants. I'm going to give him more than that. We'll go player friendly here. I want to up this too. I'm going to try to keep it realistic because I think that's kind of very, very low. He's been a solid starting center. We'll move him up we'll go for a starting center. Let's get him more into that $9 to $10 million range. We'll improve the bonus a little bit too for him. So at least $10 to $11 million seems fair for Angelo Martinez. He is back. And then we got Cam Waddle. His numbers are not great, so I'm not going to pay him ridiculous money. All right, this is, I think, very fair for the way he's played $7 million. I'm going to go ahead and try to send him. He is back there. Let's see how much money we have. Okay, $16 million. Backup quarterback. It's getting a little bit too much. It's still not too bad. So, for backup quarterback money, I'm cool with that. We need a backup quarterback just in case. And he's been a solid player for us, even though Jaxson Dart, I don't think Jaxson Dart has even been injured. I better not say that too loud. 5th-year option on Matt McGee. Sure, I'll pick that up. It's not expensive. Anybody else? Ooh, we got Bobby Sinclair, right guard. That would be an interesting. He's probably going to get a little bit more than we're going to be able to pay. Plus, we've drafted some guys, so I'm okay with where we're at there. Yet Eric Nicholson, and once again, I feel like we've drafted well enough. We drafted the backup tight end from Notre Dame. Besides that, yeah, I feel like we're pretty good. Maybe we'll re-sign this dude here to be a backup 3rd D tackle. He can come in there, compete for camp, and he is back. So that's really going to do it here. Let me get into the free. We do have $9 million. Look at this. Jaden Dawson, 98 overall, franchise quarterback award winner, superstar X Factor, is sitting there on the open market. Just imagine, at this point, he's probably going to get a bidding war of like $100 million. Who knows? That's insane. What are they doing? I don't know who had him, but that is just insanity. Whichever team decided to move on from him is wild. I am going to bring in, maybe we'll go bring in Doug Miller. We need to bring in a receiver. Like, that's the big thing here. We're going to use up what money we have right now. We'll go 2-year contract, and we're going to go to the brim here, get about $10 million a season. Yeah, hopefully he comes in here and at least give us a little bit more help in the wide receiver room. But we can actually check that out right now. Let's see if he accepts the offer or refuses. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse, I feel like. He does sign. So that's all we're going to be able to do. That takes us to about $110,000 in cap space. So the final draft of the rebuild, and we are going to trade this pick down. I feel like the value in the meat and potatoes, of course, was the top of the draft. There was that dude, Gaddis, for the Buccaneers that selected. Was unbelievable. I'm telling you, he's probably like an 81, 82 overall. One of the best prospects I've seen. Defensive tackles in this game are like on steroids or something with these draft picks, but I am going to trade down. The one that I'm going to take here, there's some good offers looking up on the board. Eagles are offering 2 first round. Oh my gosh. If we were continuing this, then I'd consider that, but I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. This is exactly what I want, actually. Great deal. I'm taking that deal, and we are going to move down in the first round. Once again, I feel like the meat and potatoes in this draft is like on day 2. There are some studs on day 2. And we're going to start off with a monster. All right. This guy. And it's not a position of need. All right. He is just so good. Evan Sanford from Washington. First up, the traits. They're oozing. Elite speed, elite strength, solid agility numbers. 4.43 at his pro day. And then you back it up with the traits. He's like, you gotta have something wrong, right? The injury rating must be bad. No, B to D, okay. Hopefully, even if it's a C, it's decent. A hit power, A block shed, B awareness, A pursuit, B man coverage. The dude can fly. He's an A tackler. He's on the Giants. We're rocking this out. Let's see, does he have a development trait? He does too. Let's do it. This guy is gonna be unbelievable. Oh man, he is insane. Let's go to our next pick. Next pick, we're going Earl Schilling from South Carolina. I think I butchered that one pretty bad, but thrilling. It's thrilling. And we are going to take a defensive tackle to be DT number 3 and fill up the depth a little bit more. I think he looks pretty dang good. Only normal development, but the traits really line up to me. You see the skills and whatnot. A, play rec. B, pass moves, and also B, finesse move, awareness, tackle, all around pretty solid player, and going to add to the squad, give us some much needed depth. We haven't really been able to quite hit a superstar at defensive tackle since losing Sexy Dexy. However, I feel pretty good about it. Next pick here, I'm going to go get a offensive lineman. We need to improve the offensive line some more. I'm going to go snag Chad Hendricks from Alabama. Looks pretty solid. Nothing insane. I don't think this guy is going to like boom and crazy, but he's going to be a solid piece for the offensive line. Let's see if he's got a development trait. That'll be really the key if he does. He does. That's going to be really huge for us. So we added some more offensive line up there. Next pick, we're going Jordan Chamberlain from Florida State. 6'5". Is there any relation to Will Chamberlain? Well, he's a little taller than that, but still 6'5", pretty dang big monster receiver from Florida State. 232 pounds, could kind of even be a tight end. Nothing insane speed-wise, but the traits are pretty solid. He can be the spec guy, and I just need to add another wide receiver. So even if he's like 68, 69 overall, maybe he's got a developmental trait. No, he does not, but at the end of the day, I wanted to add some more help at receiver. The receiving class was not the best, I feel like, in this draft class. So I was like, all right, let's just see what we can find out here. It's our final draft. We got an absolute monster in Evan Sanford. We're going to be making a very interesting move here in a minute. We'll get into that very, very soon. But this guy was too good not to pass. You see the traits. You see the stats. This guy could be, it's too bad I can't keep rebuilding with this guy because I think he is going to be like a 99 overall at some point. He looks that good. We got defense tackle Earl Schilling, even though he only has normal development. Solid overall, going to be a great DT3. Got a solid left guard with a developmental trait. We got Chamberlain here, some depth at wide receiver. And then we got Matthew Hurts. This guy looks pretty good. Hey, he's got a developmental trait. We found a little bit of a sneaky guy to develop for a couple of seasons. He'd be a future guy more than likely. Overall, that kind of rounds out the depth that we were able to get here. I'll get a speedy wide receiver at the end of the draft too. So that's kind of finishing it up here. And let's get into one final season. And we might have one more trade. We still have our trade for this season. So I said things are going to get interesting. They are. We're going big. We're going to put the chips in. And we are going to try to add another big time playmaker to this offense. The Indianapolis Colts, they just drafted a young fella here in Damian Ridley who looks like he's going to be a superstar. So they've got some guys in the wing here. Another dude with superstar, well, that's Josh Downs. But anyway, like they've got some guys where they could give up Quincy Jones going into a contract year at a situation. Their cap space is looking pretty brim right now. They need a Mike linebacker. It's a win-win deal. And we're also going to give up a second and a fourth round pick to get this done since he's got X Factor. His stats weren't insane, all right? And that's the thing, too, you have to look at. He only had about 900 yards. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. But let's submit this through. It's not quite there yet, so we're going to have to throw in a little extra kicker. And the kicker is going to be, I'll probably just put in a third-round pick instead of a fourth-round pick. Yeah, we could do that. I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and advance this. A second and a third-round pick and a Mike linebacker. A little expensive. I don't know if I'd actually pay that. That might be a little bit more than what I'm willing to do. Oh, hold on. I accidentally got rid of our linebacker here. But, yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. I'm going for it, man. We're in win now mode. And I feel like with the draft picks that we've had, we don't have a whole ton of needs going forward anyway. Let's submit the offer. This should get the deal done. It does. Whittaker for Jones plus a second and third round pick. I would say in this one, we would probably want to try to trade, but even though we've already used our trade. We are looking at the roster. Unfortunately, Stripling is injured right now. A couple of weeks, 2 more weeks he's out for. It's preseason, so he should be back in full strength by the season, which would be huge. And the offensive line looks pretty solid. Not amazing, but looks good. We add in Quincy Jones. Hopefully can take us over the edge. I feel good about where we're at right now. Got our 4th wide receiver in Chamberlain, who's going to be like that big-bodied red zone threat. And then we got a 3 wide receiver starting. On defense, we add in Sanford over here at Mike linebacker. Just too good. I picked up Rayford from free agency just as a veteran Mike linebacker to give him a little bit of depth there. And then nothing else changes beyond that, man. This is it. We're going for it. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully we can make a run here. I really would love to see something. So we made the playoffs for the final season, and I just want to show you this because this was a trip, all right? I was freaking out. I was getting nervous. And I go and at the midseason mark, because I was just looking at this, I'm like, 2-5. What's going on here? And yeah, literally, we started 2-5. First off, I don't ever force wins. There's no force wins. None of these have ever been forced wins. I didn't show you technically, so I guess you got to take my word for it, but there's no forced wins, all right? Hands up, there's no forced wins ever in these. I don't do that. So you can even see that over here. No forced wins or anything like that. But we got on a hot streak, and we just got things rolling. We only lost to the Bears in a close one. But we were 2-5, and yeah, I was trembling a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, no, I don't want to finish this rebuild off at like a 3-win season. That would really suck. But we got it together. And I'm just happy for that. But I'm not just happy with just getting it together. I want to win. Since it's the final season, I'm going to go in game by game to finish it off. This is going to be everything we have on the table. Let's see how it goes. Let's get into the sim. Now, I'm not going to play any games. We're just going to watch along and see how things go. And it's in New York. We're hosting another game versus the Commanders. Let's get to the sim here, which is all right. Bing, bing, bing. And then let's go. We'll jump forward to the next quarter here, see how things go for the Commanders. Up 7-0 already. Come on. Oh, 10-0? We're in trouble. We're in a little bit of trouble here. We're going to get to the end of just put up the end of the game. And 10-3. All right. Okay, we tie it up. All right, maybe build some momentum. 13-10. We're into second half. We got the lead. All right, Commanders take it right back. Come on, guys. Come on. We can't end up in the first. Oh, we're in trouble. And it looks like we are going to go down to the Washington Commanders for the final year of this rebuild. Had a lot of fun with this one. At least we won a Super Bowl, all right? I'm cool with that. We won a Super Bowl with Jaxson Dart, and we had a good rebuild. We really did. LL Bird, a little handshake there. Fast handshake. She's like, up, I'm out of here. So for one final time, looking at the roster here, Jaxson Dart finished at a 99 with confidence here. So that's pretty dope. Stripling, not too bad there. Oh, we need to take a look at the stats as well. So let's do that before we finish everything up. Just kind of taking one last gander at the roster. Things were looking pretty strong. And it's still a football team. Dude, that linebacker is going to be insane. I'm telling you, he is going to be an absolute monster. Let's go back to the stats here. So we were 9th on offense. Defense, we were probably a lot better this year is my guess. 3rd, yeah. Telling you that linebacker, he is just on a different level. Jaxson Dart, 34 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Okay, very efficient Jaxson Dart. Only 3,800 yards, but very efficient. Running back was better this year. He did get injured, so there's something there. But the backup running back, Preston, was able to step in and do okay. Receiving-wise, Barnes led the way. Keegan Barnes, nice season from him. Let's see, Doug Miller, we picked up in free agency, did really well. Quincy, honestly, everybody did very, very well. I'm not mad about that at all. Let's see about the blocking. The blocking was good too. Our center allowed the most sacks. Angelino Martinez, the Italian over here. No, I don't know, but tackles wise, pretty dang good from Cam Powers, who's been a beast as well. He had an interception. Let's take a look at those sack numbers. We got 24 from Abdul Carter, still feasting. Gabe Rivera, this is what we've been waiting for. Gabe Rivera stepping up on the defensive tackle. You got Glenn Campbell having 8 sacks as well. Let's see, how did Sanford do? Pretty decent, 94 tackles here. I think he'll get better as things go along too, and as he gets more progression. 3 interceptions from McGee, but he had a huge season. Surprised he hasn't developed more. Anyway, Samuel, there in the slot, played well. He was a guy we drafted a few years back. overall, the interceptions were pretty dang good this season. To recap everything up here, all the seasons, by looking at the records for the New York Football Giants, the 10-year rebuild. Starting off with our record, we went 101 and 69, which gives us a percentage of 68.3. That's excellent. Obviously, Shula, Belichick, like those, all the Reed, they're all in like the 67%. So LL Bird in the Hall of Fame already. I mean, geez, lock her in. She was tearing it up out here. Only 2 losing seasons. One was a 8-9, the other was a 7-10. Both not terrible losing seasons either. The Giants, Madden must love the Giants in terms of rebuilding. That's part of it. We started out with an 11-6 record, which is unbelievable. They are a better football team than what they're playing at right now in real life. Any which way, there it is. The one thing I will say, we were not super successful in the playoffs. Our playoff record was not very good. We only won 4 playoff games, and year number 4 was the majority of that, where we won the Super Bowl versus the Raiders. What it was. So besides that, that was my one thing that I would nitpick on this with LL Bird is like, yo, we got to get some Super Bowl wins out here, and that's really what it came down to. It's just we lost into the playoffs one too many times. We weren't able to advance very far. So we lost in the first round 4 times. And then we lost in the second round once. And then, yeah, we only got to the conference championship once. And we obviously won that one and got to the Super Bowl and won. But anyway, there it is. Really fun and really enjoyed it. It was a crazy rebuild. 10 years. Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree on how I process this rebuild. Hopefully, I tried to keep it realistic as possible. And you can always say, well, this and that. I totally get it. Realistic is subjective, and it depends on your parameters. So I try to keep it a trade per season and make sure we're not doing anything wild out here and stuff. Not just doing the cheese and getting multiple first-round picks each and every draft, which I could do that. It would be fun, too, that way. But for right now, hey, I'm trying to keep it realistic and trying to do it as much as I can with that. So I hope you guys have a really good day, G-Men, and a lot of fun.